Flight Sports TV, man. That's my dude. I rolls with him.
You heard what the man said. It's Flight Sports TV.
Flight Sports TV, that's where it's at.
Flight Sports TV.
What's going on, people? It's Flight Sports TV. I appreciate y'all for checking with me. You already know what it is. We back with another one of them things. Listen, we got a whole lot of things to talk about. Obviously, if you've been living under a rock, the CEO of Big Baller Brand, Lavar Ball, has came out with some emphatic statements, and it sends shockwaves and ripples around, the airways, and, that's just what happens. A lot of these things that was revealed, obviously it's not really news, but it's been news to the world. So we have to acknowledge these things. Just because you may know these things, ahead, a lot of people are just learning today how Lavar Ball has felt about Puma and the way things have been going with LaMelo. Puma has been kind of safe, and they've just been able to continue to manufacture. You have your flagship superstar, has been dealing with some injuries, and Puma, they haven't came out with nothing. And they, like I said, it's not like he's been dealing with a pinky injury. This is the ankle, and I just see a shoe after shoe. I just think they need to make some kind of addressing, of something, for real. Because if you truly want to make sure, I looked at these MBO4s as well, I don't design sneakers. Obviously, people ain't into these straps. It's not like how it used to be with the high tops and things of that nature. But LaMelo is definitely going to need ankle support. Lavar Ball is on the record of stating that these sneakers by Puma are not made correctly. I think those were some really tough statements that was made. And like I said, Puma's going to have to respond. A lot of people want to try to, make it seem like Lavar Ball is out here just going, rampant, but I do believe that this draws legs, why it's almost crazy, in my humble opinion, because you see a situation where Puma is promoting and doing their things, but also you see LaMelo promoting his thing, which is La France, and which I really love. And you've heard Lavar Ball on record stated that he loves the La France situation that Melo is doing, for himself. And as I was looking into it, Melo was getting in the shoes, so I was just because Melo ain't come out and say nothing, but how do you seriously, if we find out, hey, Melo is got up out this contract with Puma, I tell you, Melo will be one of the guys that would be a very hot commodity. Could you imagine if Melo left Puma? Obviously, Big Baller Brand seems ideal. If you see what you've just done, under, with Puma, all of these things that I'm saying is if Melo actually decided to leave Puma, because I think that's when people are going to realize that all this shit ain't just some game that's taking place right now. That Lavar ain't just talking because he got lips. If these injuries continue, I think Puma is definitely going to they're going to have to pay the piper, in my humble opinion. And Melo is going to be probably the biggest, target for these people. If you look and you see what Adidas is doing with Edwards and things of that nature, they see what Melo has already done. you know. And dare I say, I feel like Puma should. I think the promotion is not as sufficient as it needs to be. I think it needs to be more and better, because I think that's what this shoe demands. I believe this shoe is selling with minimal promo, in my humble opinion. But it is what it is at the end of the day. It seems like LaVar Ball, people make it seem like he has an issue with Puma off the rip. Obviously, they consulted with one another, and they were with Melo and Lavar and his team and things of that nature, and they went with Puma. There's benefits of signing with a brand, and this ultimate business, man. Melo been doing business for how long? You understand? So I believe Melo is a step ahead of a lot of these younger athletes coming in, getting these endorsement deals. You understand? So I think that Melo is going to be a lot more savvier. You don't ever see a lot of these guys with no personal brands or nothing. You understand? Melo pulling up to the game, he don't got he got LaFrance on. You understand? He wearing the ski mask LaFrance. Things of that nature. It wasn't just Melo who was talked about as well. Is LaMelo their number one? Pardon me, is LaMelo their number one athlete? Yeah, obviously. Well, for Puma, if you talking about that's tough because you're going to go into soccer and things of that nature. But if you're talking about Puma hoops, absolutely. Who they have? Mikey Williams. You have Scoot. Um, is an RJ over there? I mean, there's not really no heavy hitters. That's really in terms of challenging for that top notch spot. We're gonna get into some more things that Lavar Ball said. We're touching on right now on the remnants of what had happened involving LaMelo. Lavar, he talked on a lot. Salute to everybody in the chat while we in there. Shout out to BMR, shout out to Rap God Reloaded, Dex, shout out to Gemini Gam. You already know. Listen, I got DJ Gemini in the building, Mr. 504. Gemini, what's the deal? It's Flight Sports. We live. We discussing some things on what happened with LaVar Ball. He's made some statements. He's come out and spoken on a lot of things that he shared here on Flight Sports. I believe that if I'm not mistaken, he may have made his first, public address about Puma on Flight Sports. I think where he came out and was really critical, and then obviously he went over to Vlad, and then now he doubling back, with the podcast that he did yesterday on CBS Sports, if I'm not mistaken. Gemini,
True.
what's your thoughts on what's going on, man? It's Flight Sports.
Well, first of all, I want to give a shout out to everybody in the chat, the panel, of course, you and Dex, and don't forget Jessica, Purple, and Chief. You heard me? But literally, with this, LaVar is speaking as a father, not as representation. Okay? So some people have to take their blinders off about him speaking in general before they just automatically take it the wrong way. Puma is actually just like Adidas known for other sports. They are not known for literally basketball shoes. Now they have a lot of role players, but they also was able to acquire Mr. Ball. But with acquiring him, they also probably should have waited to roll out the shoe, but they modeled it behind their running shoes. In basketball is a little different. We have a little more torque. We have to move laterally a little bit more, so the grip has to be there. So Lavar is speaking as a father, and yes, um, the first time he did speak about Puma was on Flight Sports. Just for clarification. So with him making these rounds that he's making right now, it as a father, you have to understand where he's coming from. If you're just looking at him with blinders on, you're never going to understand where he comes from.
Right.
But as a father, yes, I do understand what he's saying, but both sides together decided to come out Now, you dig what I'm saying? Where I really felt they should have waited to really make sure that it was a basketball shoe,
Right.
and
Like,
and that's part of his concerns.
right. I mean, it's crazy because, like I said, you see a situation with Melo. He's got all of the. It seems like it's a little bit of confusion because you have a situation where Melo's coming out with his NBO threes. They're still releasing sneakers that from the '01s. You understand? That's what I'm saying. I felt like they should have never left the NBO ones. They made them low tops. Like I said, they did a variation of the MBO2. I think they just completely discontinued those. Maybe y'all go look into that. That's something that I think needs to be addressed, in my humble opinion. What happened to the MBO2? Because it seemed like I said that shoe. I feel it all started there, where it was like back to back to back to back, and then now you don't even hear about that MBO. It felt like that MBO2 never even came out. Is there something with that MBO2 that we need to think about? Ain't nobody told me this. This is just me and my hypothesis. You understand? I'm just
Okay,
listening to what LaVar is saying, and I'm looking at Puma. You understand? Because I actually buy the sneakers. You understand? I got the Golden Childs. You understand? But for the most part, I buy them for my kids. I just
I
got the
got you.
Blue Hives for my son. You understand? The O3s. You understand
Mm,
those black and blue joints with the silver? You know,
right,
I,
right, right.
I like those. So it seems like now you got a different. It just seems like it's a influx of just I don't know the direction of where they're
Color
going.
pattern.
Yeah, it
It
seems.
that
Yeah,
I,
the direction to me is really really tough. And then Melo, I'm watching him on the floor. You see him shuffling from all over different sneakers. I'm talking about that. For the most part, I've seen him in the '01s.
right.
So was he a little uncomfortable with the '02s? Because even last year, are they forcing him to wear these sneakers because they're releasing a new flavor, new they got the Dexter's Laboratory, they got this, they got the whatever the hell that they need to promote, and he's being forced to wear that shoe on the court. I'm not saying I don't know. I
It
don't know
well,
the contract.
it
I'm just
well, as
hypothesizing.
far as
Go ahead.
promotion, as soon as they release one, he does have to wear it, and that's just speaking on regular promotion contract, right? That's not even going in you don't even have to put no more speculation into it. When it comes to regular promotion, yes, he does have to wear the shoe as soon as they come out. Technically, what they should do is um a month or two before the shoe come out, he should be playing in it, and then that will make everybody want to get that shoe. And
Right.
that's this promotions 101. But I do not think he enjoyed the tools because they did move off of them quickly. And I'm not a sneakerhead, but for him to move off of them so quick, it I don't think it was comfortable for him.
Right. But I don't know. Like I said, it seemed like these shoes were doing that thing, and Lavar is on the record of saying that these shoes ain't selling how people think they selling. You know, like I said, I don't see a lot of adults wearing them, but I see a lot of kids with these shoes. You understand? There's often the parents buying them for their kids. I see a lot of the youth wearing Melos, and that's all across. And
Well,
everybody.
Puma isn't known here. And that's what people gotta understand.
What you mean they're not known here? What you mean?
Puma is not really known here is like they are internationally.
Well, I was saying that for basketball,
No,
people getting Pumas. They've
no.
been around a long
What
time.
no. What I mean by that is the sales that Puma does here compared to what they do everywhere else. It's the same with Adidas, right? Adidas is not only are they an international company, but they do have a fan base here. But it's more because that was the sports that they literally conquered, right? Like they was a juggernaut in other sports, but when it came to basketball, they was not a juggernaut. So the sales that they would do here is not going to equate to what they do outside of here. and that's what I'm alluding to.
Right.
Like if you only looking at U.S. sales, okay, then I agree with him. But if you look at international sales, oh, that's a different animal.
Right.
And they look at international numbers rather than just local numbers.
You're right. You're right about that. You know, like I said, it was the Melo situation wasn't the only thing LeVar Ball spoke on. You know, LeVar Ball obviously talked about Lonzo. Obviously, the magnifying glasses flashed on them. You know, they missed some time. Lonzo immense time. But LeVar Ball, what I did hear from this interview, if it went over your head, he said that Lonzo and LaMelo will be back next season. You know, he said that. You know, and I believe that everything is on track for that to happen. Me personally, I believe Melo's injury isn't as catastrophic as people think. I think that if they was in playoff position, he would have been back. But this just gives him just much time to get his right, get right. Lonzo, on the other hand, this big business. Um, LeVar Ball is saying that the poor workouts. Now, LeVar Ball was one of, like I said, the first time he made these statements about these rubber bands and things of that nature. You know, he talked about, he was very critical of how the workouts were for Lonzo Ball, and he believes that has attributed to what has happened, you know, with Lonzo. He talked about they're not training hard enough. You know, so they got the diets of the NBA athletes and things of that nature.
But yeah,
LeVar is very critical on these things, you know.
but
And
but
go ahead.
but here's where I have pushback. Right now, I hear what he's saying. Then once again, I'm saying he's speaking as a father, but you cannot make it sound like your son can't spend no money, and that's why I have pushback because we have a player right now in year 21 putting up numbers like if he was like in year 12, but he puts every year at least 1.3 every year into his recovery, nutrition, and training. Right, so you cannot put it all on the organization, and that's the only reason why I have pushback because we all have a inkling that the Charlotte development is trash. I'm sorry that I can't say it no cleaner. It's trash. But with you coming in with a decent contract, with you with you having a father knows how to train, you you could have even well they had some family issues going on at that time, but you could have hired proper nutritionist, a proper trainer that they didn't have to go everywhere with you, but like you could literally pay for that. Even Draymond Green now is paying for that, and you see a difference with his body, and we can't make it sound like he's young. I only throw those metaphors out there because the way that LeVar is speaking, yes, he's speaking as a father, but he's making it sound like my son shouldn't have to pay for that. And that part is the wrong answer.
Well, I mean, like I said, when you mean pay for that, to me personally, Melo, if we go back to Lonzo as well, Melo to me personally is drawing similar set comparisons, part of me, to Steph Curry. When we get to Lonzo, on the other hand, I can't really pinpoint what the hell is going on, you know. But it's tough. But like I said, what's going on with Melo? He's doing yoga. Lonzo is in the gym. I don't know exactly what he's doing, you know,
Right.
personally, but I know that he's doing everything in his power to get back on that floor. That's one thing I can verify for you, you know.
Yeah, I
But
that, that
but I can't. But I think it's tough to say that what he can do, like they not doing that. You know, we bring up LeBron. LeBron is an anomaly. You understand? Nobody, yeah, even the players of yesterday, wasn't going deep into age and doing the thing. This is something that has never been done and probably hasn't. It's probably never going to be done.
No,
Most
no, no.
most
I'm
people that
I'm only
LeBron is got drafted with, they're all retired now. But go ahead, my
right,
bad.
right, right. But I'm only bringing him up only to say that players have to invest in themselves in order to get the best out of themselves on the court. I'm not bringing them up as to say this, that, and the third, right? That I'm not doing like that type of scenario with it. I'm only saying like players have the organizations used to get a nutritionist for you. They used to help to get you a trainer. They don't do that no more. It's almost like going into your job at a fast food joint, right? And literally saying, okay, I need somebody that's gonna help me tape my ankles. Well, Charlotte not gonna get you somebody to help tape your ankles. You have to pay for somebody to help tape your ankles. Yes, they have training staff, but I'm just giving like a metaphor. So with him speaking as a father, I'm what I heard from the interview, and I hate to say this because I do respect him as a dad. I love him as a dad, like for real, for real. But he made it sound like my son shouldn't have to pay for that. To a
Right.
point. To a
Well,
point.
I don't mean to cut you off. Like I said, I respect what you're saying. I'm not here to like I said, everybody heard the interview and they're taking what they take away from it. But what I
Right, right,
want to
right.
say is, I just don't want you to not think that they're not doing that. You understand? I think it's an unfair analysis to put out because you're making it seem almost like they're not putting a dollar to, making sure that they can stay on the floor.
No, no,
These
no. I'm going off of his words, and that's why I say you him as a father, you know what he's saying, but it's like his words made it sound like one thing, and I have an inkling he did not mean to articulate it that way. Like it's basically what I'm getting at. He as a father speaking, and I raised my little I help my little cousin as an athlete, so sometimes a lot of times I say things in the wrong light. You dig what I'm saying? I meant something else, but the way that I presented it, it sounded like something else. So if you go off of the way that he presented it, he meant something else. I know he did, but it came across as something totally reverse of what he said. And that's the part I really want people to understand. He meant well, but just the way that he presented it was just a little bit off. His son is paying for a trainer. I mean, if you're doing yoga, I know the team not paying for that. If so, I know he has a nutritionist. He does have these things. I'm just saying the way that he presented it, it made it sound like his son isn't like providing for it. Like he wants the team to do it more than his son, and that's not what he meant. I know that's not what he meant.
I'm that's probably how, what I will say, into what you just said. That's probably how critics will take it. They're gonna,
Right, right.
you just listen. Lavar Ball is a polarizing figure in sports. You understand? So as much as people respect him and love him, you got another side who despise him. Every move he
Right.
makes is critical, and this is almost some wild stuff. You understand that? But at the end of the day, the the proof is there. LaVar Ball, and it's so crazy because they try to separate all of them. You understand? We got guys that love LaMelo, we got guys that love Lonzo, Jello as well. But it seems like with Melo, for whatever reason, I don't know what the hell is going on. It's an effort, a strong effort by critics to separate these guys, especially Melo and Lavar. And
Because they want the clickbait.
and it's so crazy. Every chance you get, Melo is discussing his pops. You understand the importance. Nah, man, my pops. They try to talk about the influence of Jordan. Hold on, my pops. Slow down.
Right,
They're talking
right,
about
right,
influence, this
right.
and that. Whoa, whoa, whoa. And I think a lot of these critics that want to say, "Oh, go back to Melo." Look, Melo will tell you. You think LaVar is running around here talking with no common sense just to do it? You know,
Well, look at what he
it's,
did on first take though.
it's something
Look,
there.
right. Look at what Zoe did on first take. Steven they went to say something, and Zoe just shut that down. I mean, and that's why I personally tell people I respect this man as a father because of you can tell how intricate he was, not only within their regular life, within their pre basketball professional life. Like you can tell he 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 wanted the best for them. You can tell he was learning what he needed to learn to help train them. Like that takes time. And for a lot of people they don't understand that because they're just assuming, right? And a lot of them just run with a lot of false narratives. Well, look at what Zoe did. Soon as Stephen A went to say something, Zoe shut that down. Now, if he didn't care about his dad, he would have let it continue. Remember, both of them was on the panel. Zoe shut all that down. Like, nah, man, my pops is my pops. Like, y'all tripping.
You good call. Like I said, they know that they listen. They pops is liable to say, say how it is. You heard LeVar Ball has already said he's the most uncontrollable, black man, out there. You understand? Because, like I said, this is why some of the ESPN. I don't know what happened there, but clearly, there's something going on. You hear Steve.
Well,
I don't know what's. I'm just saying it's crazy.
well, basically what it is, and as bad as people don't want to admit to it, Lavar gonna help you get numbers regardless, because he sets it up to say something controversial just to have him on your mind, right? But if you don't really analyze him, you'll think he's saying one thing, but it's a part of entertainment what he just said. So don't take that part literally. But what a lot of people do, they take it so literally, and then as soon as media try to switch up what he said or try to bake a cake with it, you be like, hold on, man, that's not what that man meant. Come on, man. Like, listen to what the man's saying. Don't assume what he's saying. Just listen for a chance. And that's normally how it happens.
Yeah, good point. Um, Listen, man. Bottom line is, I just want to see these guys healthy. All of this stuff is cool and all, but these guys got to stay healthy. Get healthy, part of me, and stay healthy. That's key. I want to see Lonzo put these injuries behind him. Also, that he's going to need collaboration with the Bulls, the medical staff, everybody. There's going to be a collaborative effort to make sure he can sustain, his ability on the floor. Obviously, a minutes restriction is going to be put in place. Even for LaMelo, how does LaMelo sustain himself? Obviously, LaVar didn't touch on anything involving LiAngelo, on this. Like I said, I think it was like it wasn't even that long of a talk. But I was definitely looking for some news on Jello. It seemed like the reporters they was hell bent on just Lonzo and Melo, So I don't think it was a situation where LaVar wouldn't speak on Jello. It's just the questions never presented itself. You know,
Nah,
um,
they was
they never,
more
they,
aimed at the two in the NBA,
yeah,
not
they never
not.
even. I think LeVar. I wish they would have actually said something about Jello, and I think he would have, elaborated and gave us some things that we wanted to hear. What I do, I haven't heard shit from about Jello, but I just scouring through social media. McKinley He's the point guard for the Astros. Mind you, the Astros doing their thing. And
Right.
as last time I checked, LiAngelo is still a member of the Astros, D. Jalisco, and I seen him liking the post of McKinley. So McKinley was putting up some highlights with the Astros. And what did I see? Liked by Jello. So
Mm.
yo, who's to say that Jello won't be going back? I think everybody's assuming it's over. And just because he liked the post, that don't mean he's on his way back to Mexico either. But
Right. Right.
I'm
Right.
saying, I'm just putting things together because ain't nobody saying shit. So I just got to just look and scour the airways. But it's crazy. I would have definitely have loved to hear late what's the rehab process going for Jello. It's tough, because Jello got
Well,
hurt.
I.
Jello just released some sneakers as well from Big Baller
Mm.
Brand. Jello was, and like I said, Lavar Ball was stated also in this interview that, the boys got away from him in terms of Lonzo and Melo. Once they left him, all of these things occurred. Now, people could see Jello right now, that he got hurt. Or whatever. I want to hear more on what the hell is going. I felt like that we kind of got a little just half, situation there. We don't got the process. We don't know what the hell is going on. And I don't know if it's because he's in Mexico. If he was in the NBA, it would have been much more of a prompt, situation on what the hell is going on. If he was with the G League, it would be some better report. I don't feel it's been much good of a report with this. All we heard
Well,
home,
with
and
with
it's
what you
like
brought up, with what you brought up, you do realize that not one of the false narratives about Jello, right? with with the interview that you had did with his teammate, right? And with him even still liking the post, right, and putting the highlights up, right? Remember the report out of Charlotte that Jello was a bad teammate. That knocks that
Tell me,
narrative
who
completely
said
out the
that?
water.
Who said he was a
They
bad teammate?
they they, they said that he was
Who said this?
a problem. It was a report from the
I didn't hear about those reports.
yeah, it was
Yeah.
from the G League team. But I'm saying it knocks that false narrative away, and just to show how some people can take things so far out of context to where what they think it is not. Is basically what I'm getting at. He is a good teammate. He is a good person outside of the court. But for a lot of people, they're like, oh no, they said he was a problem, so he was a problem. No, he's not a problem, pimp. He's not a problem.
Like I said,
So I'm
Jello
glad you
Ball.
highlighted that part because it kills that false narrative out there
Yeah,
about him.
yeah. Like I said, or in terms of probably a lot of even I think Jello was just upset at how he was used. I mean, I ain't gonna get all into what the hell happened in Greensburg because that's gonna bring up all kind of other shit. But it's a crazy situation, man. Jello. What I was gonna say was Jello when he was with LaVar Ball. He was when he was doing with Bone Collector, when he was with Team BBB, when he went to the Summer League,
Right.
all of that was, with LeVar, you understand? And like I said, Jello was right on track, of doing what he needs to do to get to where he needs to get to. Now, when he got there to Greensboro, when he got there to Charlotte, it, it seemed like they separated him and LaMelo, so I don't know what happened with that. So it's a tough situation. And you've heard LaVar Ball on record to say, how the hell you don't even put them on the floor together? I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
that, I thought that was ridiculous. Like, this is the Summer League. Like,
Cause we really could have seen like
part of me is
I personally think we could have got the best out of him with having both of them on the floor. I think so personally.
I know. So,
But
um,
with
yeah,
with a lot of people, they're not understanding like with these injuries, like Chef Curry was like they literally had to put in a medical waiver for him. Like people are acting like that man career didn't have like where he was about to be out the league. Mark Jackson had to put in paperwork in spite of the owner because Chef Curry was about to be out the league. So I hope my hope and wish for him is that he can learn his body enough to where he, he can stay healthy and stay on the court because he is magical on the court. Him and his brother, they're magical, but it's like for some reason, I don't know if it's the footwear. I don't know if it's the way possibly that they're training. That could sometime overtraining, where you think you're helping yourself, you could be hurting yourself. So I wish and pray both of them learn their body a little bit better so they can perform. Cause I really miss seeing them on the court, like for real, for real. I'm not a sneakerhead, so I can't really talk about the sneakers. But when it comes to seeing these two young men on the court, it's magical, bro. And that's what I miss. And both of them play my position too, so I love it.
No, good point. Good point. Thunder says Lonzo lost 2 years of development. He would have been entering his prime. Listen, I think that's another. That's a tough. That's tough. These things got to be rectified. Point blank. Period. You know. But I think Lonzo, he gonna come back. He gonna come back good, man. He's still young. So that's another thing that we got to point out. It's
Now,
not.
Thunder, I understand what you're saying. Think about what happened to Livingston. Livingston still had a solid career though, even if he wouldn't have won the championship. Just him coming back for and playing for a couple of seasons past that made him have a decent career, man. So don't think of it that he lost it, because if he's still analyzing tape, if he's still um around them when they're scrimmaging, he can see things. He can talk about things with them. He can even help other players develop at the same time. So his career is still it. I don't want to say spotty, but you could kind of say borderline at this point because he did put up good numbers. It's not like he was trash. I'm just saying. So his career is still in the positive. Go ahead,
No,
Floyd.
no, like I said, there's a lot of positives. Just once you get him back on the floor, it's gonna be nothing but positives. And I think Lonzo is in a unique situation. I think to prove his, yeah, I mean, he's already proven his worth, but I think he could re-show everybody, remind, and if he put the Bulls back in position, maybe not all the way up to number one, because the Bulls ain't making, they'll probably have to make another move or something to do that. But if he could get the Bulls back to a top five seed where they out of this struggle, it seemed like it's one big struggle for the Bulls every night, and basically they wrestling to get in the goddamn playoffs. The Bulls with this talent, they should be comfortably in a playoff position, and I think that's what Lonzo Ball does. He alleviates all of the like I said, you got DeRozan and Zach, and everything just looks hard. And you got DeRozan shooting over three people and with a fadeaway. Zach got to step back on a three with two defenders on him. Vucevic is slow as hell. So I mean, it just gets crazy. You need a guy in Lonzo to just make all this shit work.
Yeah,
LaVar made it clear, and he said how he had all of these guys and made them all better. Lonzo has been making everybody better since forever. And if you studied him in high school and beyond, you seen it there. You're seeing it in the NBA at an elite level. It's just a messed up situation. Not only just like running the team and setting everybody up. I look at some of these Eastern Conference point guards. just running amok. You know, this guy Lonzo Ball to cut all that bullshit off. I seen Lonzo go toe to toe with the Lukas. You understand? I saw it. You understand? I seen Lonzo playing defense 94 feet. You understand? I seen Lonzo Ball shut down these guys like Trey Young and things. I'm just saying. I'm not saying that these guys will be just not effective, but Lonzo will put a serious damper on their offensive production if he really wanted to. This is the kind of defender that Lonzo Ball is, y'all. It's not
Well,
just making and facilitating the shit. You understand?
yeah,
This
but for
this is a
those who don't remember, the Chicago was like in the top three in the East when he was playing. So that go to show you right there what time it was when Bridges was at his true position. I know they playing him at power forward now, but when he was at his true position, and him and LaMelo, it was like a version of Showtime. So I mean, they when they're on the court, just like Thunder said, magical, like for real, entertainment. But is we need them to learn their body at this point. That's the only thing.
No, I'm with you there, man. Like I said, Lonzo and these guys, they're gonna be back. And Zach, he's gonna be back as well. He's coming off of what he was coming off of, and I think this is one last effort for the Bulls. I think if this don't work, the team will be just dismantled. But the fact that Lonzo is what he meant to the team has held them together through all this hell. What Lonzo did in that first year for that Chicago Bulls, that magic, that spark, that has held this team pretty much kind of intact through all the course of this hell that has occurred. Because if they wanted to, they could have let Zach go. They could have let DeMar go. But they got to see how this shit look with Lonzo one more time before we pull the trigger on this. This guy
It's
AJ was on his way to an Executive of the Year award or something. People.
Yeah, he really was. He did save his job.
Yeah, people got the rug snatched from under them. So they need to run this thing back before they make any major moves, and I respect that by the Bulls. So and if Alonzo get back there, he put the Bulls in the top 5 seed in the East. I don't want to hear a motherfucking thing. But go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to that, the GM at one point had saved his job. Nobody was talking
And
about
I don't want
firing
to.
him no
Excuse
more.
me, I don't mean to cut you off. I don't want to hear. Oh man, Lonzo averaging 13. Uh, uh, but the Bulls, but
And winning,
his presence, which I don't understand, him just being on the goddamn floor. You understand? Is it? You understand?
right? The, so the offense actually moved better with him on Chicago's
And I'm
floor.
not saying he gonna
The
average 13
defense was
feet. I
actually
just want to put that out
tenacious.
there. Go ahead, my bad, Gemini.
Yeah, the defense was actually tenacious, and one thing I gotta give them, it kind of reminds you of the championship years as far as their defense, because damn that every time you look up, they was on a fast break. It was either from a tip or or something, or even when they collapsed defense down to strip the ball, like everything that was clicking. They was clicking on all cylinders, and it actually shocked me because most time when players go to a different team, it take them a minute to get it together. It didn't take him no time to get it together. They started running and gunning from day one. So I cannot lie. They literally had me discombobulated. Like I really like that 3-man kill that they had going on. And with that trio, man, it was hard to pass. It really was. You couldn't do a laxy daisy pass against them. It was a fast break going the opposite way. But Chicago just have a few things to work on. Then with him coming back, then AO will be the backup. Man, they gonna be dangerous. I'm serious. Him coming back next year with AO right behind him. Cody White gonna get his minutes, and they'll figure it out. And I think the other guy is Carter. Like they're gonna be dangerous from 1 through 3. They're gonna be dangerous, but they have to get a power forward. They got to put Williams back at his position to really get that full running gun system down pat. But I think Zoe will help show him that too. And it's sad. I can just think of this off my mind without even watching any highlights, man. I remember those tips. Remember those fast breaks. Hell, it damn near all three of them was about to make the All Star game that year. So I mean, that's how tough it was. So with with both of these brothers getting back to basketball and learning and loving it again and learning their bodies, I think they'll be well. I honestly do. But they have to work on their feet though. I don't know what it is about their feet. I don't know if it's a light skin thing or what, but they got to work on their feet, like.
So, so what's hold on? So what you think about what's going on with the playoffs, man? We got the NBA playoffs, popping off. Lavar did speak ahead of the postseason. Let's talk a little bit about the NBA right now. On the climate headed into the postseason. What's the state of the NBA? We got Joel back. What's popping with the playoffs, East and West? I'm gonna give you the floor. Let's talk.
All right, in the West, man, the West is a beast again. You heard me? So literally, you have an all-out fight for number one in between three teams, in between OKC, the Timberwolves, and Denver. It's still a fight, regardless on what people think is not a fight. It's still a fight going on because you have where as soon as they get Cat back, the problem that the Timberwolves have at this point, they need Cat back. Soon as he come back, that's going to fortify their front court, and then they can go back to running gun. Denver is just going to cruise control in. They really don't care as long as they 1 through 3, from my understanding. But OKC is wants to fight everybody for that number one spot. They really want that number one spot. They didn't talked about it on several interviews. They didn't show how they want to be energetic behind it and everything else. Like you can't go no harder than the way they trying to go at this point. When it comes to the Clippers, I really think the Clippers are gonna phase out during the playoffs. I know a lot of people have faith in Kawhi. I'm sorry, I don't. I think it's gonna phase out. As far as the play-in is about to be nasty because you have the Lakers, you have the Warriors, and as far as right now, it just depends. As long as the Warriors don't lose any more games, they won't let Houston take over that position. So the way that this playoffs is really gonna go, as far as the West, whoever 2 and 7 is gonna have the easiest schedule up the ladder. If they're one, they're gonna have a tough out. Um, I'm very concerned about my Lakers because we have a front court problem. I think 1 through 3 we're good, but when it comes to the actual front court 4 and 5, it's a problem. Now when it comes to the East, and I'm sorry, I I, I was trying to pull up the standings at the same time, so bear with me. In the East, I really do think Boston and Miami are still the teams to watch out for. I think Philly. I think Embiid is still going to need a couple of games to get his tempo and win back because as of right now, when he's out the lane, they suck. So a lot of people are not even fearing Philly because if he's not in the lineup, they got Mo Bamba. Come on, man, Mo Bamba. That's not going to put them where they need to be over the hump. So as of right now, excuse me, as of right now, I think the Bucks against Indiana, I think that's going to be easy work. I really think that's going to be easy work. When it comes to I think Orlando and New York is going to be a head scratcher. My problem is y'all just lost Randall.
Uh,
Indiana's
yeah, when you get a chance, I want you to elaborate on that. What was your thoughts when you first heard that? When you get a chance,
okay. When I think the Pacers are going to try to run and gun everybody off of the court. When it comes to the Bucks going to have a real problem. Here's why the Bucks going to have a problem. They give away all their defensive prowess backcourt. They gave it away. Allen not there. Holiday's not there. Even though people want more offense from them, they was not green lighted to shoot like that. They was green lighted to play defense. So they was actually turning them just to 3-and-D guys. So I think the Bucks are gonna have a hard playoffs and they have to try to make sure Middleton is actually gonna make it through the playoffs. Until he proved that to me, I'm actually worried about them because they only have like a 7-man rotation. They don't even have an 8-man rotation. So I think the Bucks. I don't think they're gonna be a problem like people think. I think they're gonna get past that first round, but when it comes to that second round, I think it's gonna be a problem. The team that's gonna kind of shock everybody on the slick, I actually think is gonna be Cleveland. I honestly think it's gonna be Cleveland. As far as New um New York going against Orlando. Now, when I heard that y'all lost Randall, ooh, I ain't even gonna hold you. I'm like, what? How are they gonna make that up? With looking over the roster, I really think the guy y'all got in the trade from Toronto. I don't want to mess up the young man name. But the young man that y'all got from Toronto, I
OG.
I no, not OG. The forward, the forward. He got the A name. I
Oh,
know
you
his
talking
name
about
start with
Precious or Chua?
a tour. Okay, a tour I think is gonna help y'all, but he doesn't have a real offensive prowess with him. He has more of a defensive prowess with him. So I think y'all gonna lean a lot on Frankenstein, bro. I think y'all gonna lean so hard on Frankenstein that it's ridiculous. Um, I will have to double check, but I'm gonna ask you. Um, have you heard any updates about Williams? Cause that's
On
gonna be
who?
y'all problem too. Williams,
Who?
y'all starting center. Williams.
You talking about Mitchell Robinson?
Is it Mitchell?
You talking about Mark Williams on the Hornets?
No. I think it's Robinson. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
you
I'm sorry.
mistaken.
I'm not. I'm.
You
I'm
good? You
sorry.
good? Now Mitch, yeah, something going on. I mean, he's not healthy. That's so he's banged up, but he they trying to get him right. You know, I mean, he came back recently, but he gonna be nursing himself. But the Knicks ain't doing shit. You know, so it is what it is. They're not gonna do nothing. They're gonna
Okay.
eventually be eliminated. They might make it out the first round, depending on the matchup, but they're gonna it's gonna be limitations. Jalen Brunson is gonna he gonna be electric in the playoffs, but they're going to double him. They're going to triple him. They're going to shut him down a little bit. And
Right.
Julius
And
is gonna that's gonna is gonna really be highlighted in the playoffs. Like where the fuck's Julius?
right because y'all got OG out with an elbow. Y'all have Washington out with a thumb. Y'all got Charlie Brown Jr. out. it just said illness, so I don't know if he got a cold or whatever. But it's like y'all need OG back. Here's why y'all need OG back. Y'all need OG back because he is a energy guy. Even when he doesn't bring his defense, his presence is still felt. It's hard because Delhi is a up and down type player. Hart is his defense turned into offense, but sometimes it's not all clicking together, right? So it that that's the point y'all gonna have to get over the hump with. Like that's really the point y'all gonna definitely have to get over the hump with. So, but as far as y'all front court, like I don't, y'all gonna lean so much on Hardenstein. I wish him the best, but I don't know if it's gonna happen. And Bagnani, he's not a good power forward, bro. He's not a good power forward at all. So like y'all actually hurt. And Bagnani don't have that many jumps in him left. Like he really doesn't have that many jumps in him. Like I really wish y'all would have kept the guy that y'all traded to Detroit for him.
You talking about Malachi Flynn? You gonna say that because he just dropped 50? I mean, he was.
huh?
I don't know why they traded him. I don't know. They traded him.
No,
That was wild.
no. But even with them trading him is like I don't understand like some of the moves that happen. I don't
It was a
understand
win.
them.
It was a win now move. You know,
Okay,
Malachi Flynn. He gonna fit better and grow with what's going on up there with them.
and now I will say this: a person that could probably help y'all that'll be a sleeper for y'all if he has a jump like his brother will be topping, but y'all will have to use him at power forward.
Right.
If he got a second jump like his brother, y'all are now dangerous. You dig what I'm saying? Because nobody's coaching for him this year. Now, if it was his second year and he showed well, that would be different. But this is first year. But if he has a second jump like his brother does, oh man, y'all will honestly have a sleeper. But overall, that's what I see. I don't. And for Philly to be in the play-in for number one, that's that's definitely not what it need to be. I don't know if I give them out of the play-in, man. I really don't. That's what I'm saying. People happy Embiid
And be
came
the
back.
fucking gonna drop 50 in that plane. I wouldn't be concerned.
Nah, but here's the thing though. You have Miami in the plan. You got Philly in the plan. You got Chicago look like they about to be in the plan. You have Atlanta that's going to be in the plan. Chicago and Atlanta gonna balance each other out. I ain't even gonna hold you to that. Like they gonna really balance each other out. Like really, even though I don't want to admit to it, but I have to. I honestly think it's gonna be Miami and Philly coming out that play in, man. Everybody else is gonna be 1, 2, 3 Cancun. Then it's just how healthy the next team they go against is. Cause I mean, if you look at the standards right now, Cleveland going against Miami. You really think Cleveland gonna beat Miami?
Listen, I think Miami, they're gonna be that.
I mean, they got that dog in them. So I really think Jaquez and them really and Terry. If Terry work on the shot selection like he needed to work on it with Charlotte, but if Terry work on the shot selection, oh man,
I
it's
thought,
about to be bananas.
my bad. What I was gonna say was, yeah. What did I just say before? I just had some fucking technical issue.
I was talking about Miami and if how Jaquez leaving on the floor and Terry, like how I think it's gonna be Philly and Miami coming out that play. because I don't give it to Atlanta, and I'm sorry, I will not give it to Chicago. I do not think Chicago going. I do. If you're betting man like Dex, I do not think at all that you're gonna win money with Chicago and Atlanta coming out there playing.
Yeah, the playing gonna be crazy. What's up with the what's going on with the MVP award though? With that Shea is the win?
Man, that the MVP. I hate to say it, they're gonna give it to Joker again. I hate to say that. They're gonna give it to Joker again. They're gonna give it to him even more so because they're trying to make him the face of the league. They tried it with Luca, it didn't work. So they're going with the next move, which is Joker. But the way they're marketing him is that he's a beast when he on the court and he just have a life outside of the court. You dig what I'm saying? Like that's how they're marketing him. So I think the MVP going back to Joker. I think Shea is gonna run second or third. Like literally. But do I think they're gonna give it to him? No. Cause right now they even talked about how Giannis is the number two guy on the list. And Shea is like number three or four. But I haven't checked it the last 2 days, so I think it should have upgraded it by now. But as far as right now, Shea not gonna get it because of position wise. But whoever have the more winning record, they gonna get it. But numbers wise, it's Joker. No matter how we want to debate it or whatever, it's Joker. All these triple doubles this man that had this year, even with having Murray down, they still squeaking out wins with Porter, Brown, and Gordon handling their business. And then the two streaky shooters they have, and I mean KCP and damn, why I forgot the other dude's name. Hold on, I'll tell you his name.
So who gonna win the championship?
Ooh, now that's tough. That's tough. I gotta see the second round matchups first. I gotta see the second round's
Well,
matchups.
you got to see who survived first, right? Somebody
Yeah,
going home early. Somebody
yeah,
gonna get fucked up.
yeah. So, like I'm not a betting person, but something telling me it's gonna be a couple of teams that pull a rabbit out of a hat for that first round, and they're gonna send somebody home
Yeah,
that
somebody's gonna
that
get
shouldn't be
screwed.
sent home. Yeah, like you
There's too many
now,
teams that's good at the bottom. You understand? There's too many.
right? So I see somebody pulling a rabbit out of a hat. I do see that. Now, will they be able to maintain it overall is the bigger question. Because when it comes to that second round, that's when it get nasty. That that's when you start getting touched up when you drive into the lane. You're going for a three. Somebody may land underneath you. Cause like me personally, I'm just saying, like me as a Laker fan for the West, I'm like, I want Denver now. Why? Because Murray don't have his legs on them. LeBron James is gonna be less bumps and bruises, so I want them early. But that's me. A lot of other Laker fans that I didn't talk to, they like, man, that I'd rather play somebody else. I'm like, nah, why? I'm on that Ric Flair. To beat a man, woo, you got to beat the man. So I'd rather
What the
beat
hell
him.
you know about Ric Flair? No, I'm
Man,
playing, baby. Shout out
I
to the nature boy.
man, my grandmother used to have me at all them wrestling matches. I still remember Junkyard Dog taking a picture with him, taking that Polaroid with him, with the bulbs at the top of the camera. Yeah, see, I'm that old, flight. I'm that old.
Okay. That's
I
good.
I know I know I don't sound like it, but yeah, I'm that old, bro.
Right now, like I said, I know about all those guys. Um, it's good to see sports and all that good shit getting represented correctly. I love to go turn on ESPN first take and see pro wrestlers on there, or that's a good look. For me personally.
Oh yeah, but
Um,
I
yeah,
I I really enjoy how this year we even with the Boston trade, right? Even with the Boston trade, we still don't know who's gonna be in the finals. Like even with the mega trade that Boston did and they got the two first round picks from it, you still do not know like who's who's solidified in your mind at this point where you can say, oh yeah, they gonna be there. Now marketing wise, if I was the NBA, and yeah, I'm kind of biased, but I will market 17 championships against 17 championships. Who's gonna be the first one to 18? And that will be Boston versus Lakers. But just like I said, I don't know if Boston gonna run out of gas again. Cause remember, the past few years they've been running a little light. They'll get there, but it seemed like they rather than getting that cheap gas with the water in it, they should have just paid a couple of more cents. You heard me? So right now, I feel. Oh, Dex said Joker got 22 triple doubles. Yeah, and Dex, and that's why I said I think Joker's gonna get the MVP. His numbers actually support him getting the MVP with no argument. For the people who want to argue about it, I I do not think Joker is not going to be the MVP. I do not think he's not. Now the question is he going to put keep track of the MVP championship this year? Is he going to literally make them go to his ranch again this year? Is he going to take it in the states? Like like those are the more mind-boggling questions when it comes to the MVP for me. Because I mean, the way he looked at his horse ranch, he was just like, "Hey, just hurry up, knock this out. I got things to do." That's basically the way how he was dressing, how he act. Who is the hottest team coming down?
yeah, it's crazy.
Now Dex got a question for me. He said, "Who is the hottest team as of right now?" I mean that's hard, Dex, because I mean, some teams are resting players. Some teams are ironing out the last of the kinks. So if I had to go, if I really had to say who is the hot team, like right now, that's tough. In the West, I would have to say Dallas and the Suns. If I was looking at the East, I would have to say Orlando, and I really don't have a second team. I mean, you could say Boston for sake of argument because of their record. I mean, they are 60-16. So I mean, if okay, so if I would have to say it, I would have to say Orlando and Boston in the East. Because I mean, these last couple of games, people gonna get rested. I don't care who the team is. If they're going to the playoffs, they're gonna rest their stars, bro. So it may be a little bit more moving in the standings, cause like in the East, they're like 3 through 5. They only like a game and a half difference. In some are only like a half a game difference. So if you really look at it, as far as the West, I mean it's a big divide from 3 to 4. So you already know they're not moving nowhere. Then if you just go from 4 to 6, it's only like a game, uh, another game and a half between 4 through 6. The Pelicans are actually playing solid. I'm seeing a lot of production from them. I just need them to stay consistent. If they can stay consistent for me, I think they'll be a sleeper. I think they'll honestly be a sleeper. But as far as the play-in, I mean, you got New Orleans, you got the Kings, you got the Lakers, you got Golden State. All those are teams that's, I mean, we fighting to get it out the mud, but I I I don't see like nothing changing. And the whole standings on both sides, East Coast and West, I don't see no change. I think right now with Minnesota, Denver, and OKC, I think that's how it's going to end, 1 through 3. Actually, no. I think Denver's going to wind up as number 3. I'll say that. I think Denver's going to wind up as number 3. I do not think they're going to end as 2 if OKC gets on the tear. And they're young, so they don't have to rest nobody. And that's all I got, Flight. Because I don't see no more movement in the standards at all. The Mavericks are hot thunder, but they don't have consistency. The problem with them is consistency. They did add to the front court, but the problem they're gonna have is I I think the Mavericks are actually gonna stall out because they're gonna rest Luca, they're gonna rest Kyrie, but I don't think they're gonna rest them at the same time. AE changed Minnesota. I never thought. Yeah, that this is from Dre. AE change. Oh, Edwards changed Minnesota. I never thought I would see that the Minnesota is this elite. Number one in the West is amazing. Can't lie. Yeah, I mean, Ant Man is a dog. I view him as the Wayne Wade to me, even though a lot of other people view him as something different. But I view him like the Wayne Wade. Um, let's see. AD, you're the best player. If he don't show up, you're cooked. Thunder, actually, you're right because AD doesn't have no help on the front court. So if AD either go to the lane weak or is just not there, like yeah, we'll be hit for real. You ain't lying because AD needs some help in that front court. Um, Chris and it was his seventh. Yeah. Okay, Dre, you said you typed a comment. I I kind of gotta disagree with you. You say when Jimmy isn't playing, Miami is Terry's team. Terry found a home in Miami. It's not his team though, dude. Like he's not a star on that team. He's a great supporting cast. I'll give you that. But he is not his team. So I don't see them. I will see them give the team to Jacquez before I see him give it to Terry. I don't know Thunder to your comment. I don't know if the Hawks have a 10 seed curse, but they squeaking in, bro. To say the up and down season they had, they are squeaking in. And I'm trying to scroll up the comments right fast. And Dex, I need you up here, pimping. Trying to see, but you probably don't have no signal where you at, and that's fine. Oh, and Dex, also to let you know, the Pelicans need to use Hawkins a little bit more, and then I will get them over that slump. But I I just don't overall see them like kicking ass throughout the playoffs. I don't. I see it as a hard fight for them because Ingram let the game come to him rather than taking over. When he does that, it smells a loss for the Pelicans. And I'm telling you that because I'm here in New Orleans. I'm scrolling, I'm trying to go through all the comments because we didn't have a um we was doing our monologue, we didn't have a chance to look at the comments. Who are the sneakerheads up here? That's in the chat because I kind of need y'all help between the Zo ones and the Zo twos. I mean the Pumas, the Puma ones and the Puma twos. Like I need y'all to break that down for me. I'm not a Puma guy, so like what shoe if you could play in it, which one would y'all prefer? That one or that two out of Puma? Y'all could just put a one or a two in the chat because I really would like to know. I'm not a sneakerhead like that. I just make sure my kicks match my outfit and I roll with it. But other than for that, Minnesota, Rudy Gobert is actually playing well. He's playing with energy. He's playing with movement. He's actually moving well laterally and moving his head faster than what he need to. The same problem that the young man from Purdue have. Gobert was like not turning his head soon enough neither. So he actually he I don't know who lit a fire underneath him, but he playing like a monster right now. I know that. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Uh,
What else is going on in the NBA that we may have missed? Any other news?
as of right now, no. I'm I actually would like to see where is the net coach going to wind up and where's Griffin going to wind up. That those are the two things that I'm watching out for because I think both of them, if they don't become head coaches again, I think they will make damn good assistant coaches, like damn good. That guy was getting the best out of the Nets, and he still lost his job. I disagree with that firing. Now Griffin, I really disagree with that firing, but that's neither here nor there. Because talking to a few of the fans, it's more just that they thought they should have more wins than losses, rather than what he was able to. Because Doc didn't. To me, Doc isn't adding nothing to the Bucks at all. The Bucks have almost a solid personnel, just that they traded a lot of them away. That's the only thing that's hurting them. They got rid of a lot of people. If they wouldn't have got rid of a lot of people, man, picture picture Holiday and Dame on the same court. I can see it, and I can see it doing well. But Other than for that, I think we covered it all, Flight.
Yeah,
And
man,
one
there's a lot going on, man. Looking for the playoffs. When the playoffs start? What's the date? You know,
um well, don't the season end like April 12th?
I'm not sure. So I'm asking you.
Wait, hold up. Because I know we only have like 2 weeks, 2 weeks left, a solid 2 weeks, and it's on. It's on and popping like popcorn.
You're right
And then,
about that. It sure don't make no sense. See, we got Dex in here. So Dex just came through the cook. I was about to shut it down, but Dex, you can cook up if you want to speak on something.
what you got, big brother? All access. Where you at, baby? Take yourself off mute, Dex.
He's here.
Dex must have technical difficulty. Me and him could talk in the in backstage. Then,
No, I'll stay online. I mean, if Dex is gonna be here.
yeah.
Uh, no, that's crazy.
But I think that covers it. Covers it all.
Well, what you
These
think about that
last,
Stephon Diggs trade?
huh?
What you think about that Diggs trade?
They shooting their stuff in the foot.
Oh, who the Bills?
Yep.
Yeah, I know. I guess they had to do what they had to do. Josh Allen ain't want him no more.
Yeah, but that, they I think to me I think they're putting too much stock in him. I really do.
Wow.
It's gonna come back to hurt them when they don't think it's gonna come back to hurt them.
Sure, we got what's good, Quiz?
Big flight, what's good, bro?
I can't call it.
Hey, your Knicks got busy tonight, bro.
What's your name, my neck?
You're not a Knicks fan?
It's your next too.
I mean, I'm from New York, but never was
Oh.
a fan of the Knicks. But I like the Knicks, though. You know what I mean? I'm, you know what I mean. I still got Knick energy as a New Yorker, but I recognize the real fans. You definitely a Knicks fan, and I'm impressed right now, bro. Even though I know you heard the bad news about Julius Randle,
Oh
right?
man.
But y'all been rocking out. My man Josh Hart dropped a nice 30 piece. He been going crazy lately.
Wait, he dropped 30?
Yes, he did.
Golly.
Yes, he did. I mean, Josh Hart been dropping triple doubles like it's going out of style. He's the best rebounder on the team. Jalen Brunson dropped 35. Knicks been playing good, man, and they got this young kid McBride over there too, who been having some really nice games.
Right.
The Knicks look. I'm gonna be honest with you. The Knicks look like they might be a problem. They're an underdog squad, but don't sleep on them too hard. Them boys come to play.
I actually like what Hollenstein is bringing to him.
Yeah, but I remember I was saying that when they got him because Hartenstein actually is a very solid rebounder, a very active player. He gets blocks, steals. He does the dirty work. You know what I mean? Uh,
Hmm.
and I mean, and it paid dividends having him because who would have known that Mitchell Robinson would have gone down? You know what I mean?
Right, right.
But yeah, I've always liked Hardenstein. Even when he played back, remember when he back when he played with I think it was the Rockets with
Yep.
um with James Harden. He was coming off the bench, but I always liked Hardenstein.
His motor has always been there.
Absolutely. There's a lot of dudes who don't play with as much energy as a guy like him. He definitely gets active out there.
Yeah. So that's the only reason why I'm like he gonna need some help.
Well, yeah, he is, but Mitchell Robinson's healthy now, so the Knicks actually have their centers. Oh, is OG Anunoby back yet?
No, he's out. He's out with an elbow.
Yeah, but they also have Patrice Achua, DiVincenzo. I've always liked DiVincenzo. He's having a
Hmm.
good year for the Knicks too. I mean, the Knicks. I
Oh
mean,
yeah,
and this
Delhi.
have you seen this kid McBride lately?
Yeah, yeah. He been doing this thing on the slick. He really has. He
I'll be
really has
honest
been
with
doing
you.
this
It's
thing
hard
on
to
the
it's
slick.
it's hard to find a player on the Knicks who ain't been playing. And I mean, like um, yeah. I
Compared to
mean,
past years, yeah, yes.
well, honestly, I liked R.J. Barrett, but I felt like his ceiling was kind of limited. I feel like
He
moving him out the way really has unlocked a lot of these players, and these guys seem to be able to play together, which is amazing to me. Like they actually are all able to play together, and they have that same dog attitude. Not that RJ didn't have it, but the things that they got, I think they got more dogs, and they have dudes who just seem to have opened up. This guy Josh Hart has always been able to play basketball. Man, he's really opened up. You know what I mean?
right,
Um,
but with RJ, y'all, the Knicks just wanted him to crack over that 20 points. That's what they was hoping on with him. They wanted him to crack over 20 points a game average. That's what they was expecting.
I never really felt like I don't feel like I mean even if RJ Barrett and I wish him the best, even if he does drop 20 points a game, I don't think that RJ Barrett is really I think he's kind of his offense is kind of capped off. And I don't want to say that disparagingly because I like
It's
RJ
shaky.
Barrett,
It's
but
shaky.
I don't really see RJ Barrett as a 20 point a game consistent career player. I don't think his offense is really like that to be honest with you. He's a decent player. Um,
No, no, no. I'm just saying what the Knicks wanted out of him.
I don't think the Knicks was going to really get his offense is not the Knicks. To be honest with you, really their best offensive tool is really Julius Randle, but Brunson coming over there, he's also offensively gifted. I just uh,
Hmm.
being that Brunson is a little bit smaller, I still feel like their best like just flat out suited scorer there is really is Julius Randle, but Julius Randle was dependent on to do too many things before some of those other guys got over there. So I mean, I think the
Right.
team is way better the way that they are now. And I've had conversations with Knicks fans for the longest too, because Knicks fans always are like, we need to get rid of Julius, and I'll always be like, all right, well, who are you going to get? Because you got to bring somebody at least as good as him, if not better. You know what I mean? And Julius Randle has gotten the Knicks to a Eastern
A comfortable
Conference.
spot. Yeah, a
Well, I mean,
comfortable.
they got beyond a comfortable spot. They a few years ago they played for like the um what is it, the Eastern Conference Finals or the quarter or the semifinals at least.
Yeah, semifinals.
I remember when they went up against the Hawks. And they overachieved that year too. So
Right.
you can't say and the thing I like about Julius Randle is like you're talking about what they want from RJ Barrett. You know you can get a double double. Julius Randle's a dude who average a double double. He's going to get you 20 points, 22, 23. He's going to get you, at least 10 rebounds, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
He's a talented player. It's just he's one of those bigs that, like any if you get rid of him, you're going to miss him no matter what they do. So
That is true.
I mean,
Wait.
he's in a weird place because it's not like there's not dudes in his. It's not like dudes in his space who are better than him are just floating around. You know what I mean? Like
Nah, nah, nah. The numbers are not high. The numbers are not high. If you're trying to replace them, no, 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 no. The numbers are not high.
you're
I would.
you're not really gonna find a power forward. You know what I mean? That's gonna be better than Julius Randle. Let's just keep it a beam. Those dudes are
Yeah,
already taken up. I mean, you have to get somebody like it'd have to be somebody like a Sabonis, and you'd have to pay a price to get him. You know what I mean?
yeah, and I don't see Dolan willing to do that.
But you know who I'm really, really impressed with is my man Josh Hart is like the Swiss Army knife. He came over there. Like you talk about Hardenstein. I mean,
Well, the only bad thing for Hart whole career, he has had a tradable contract.
And he's going to. I mean, I don't think that. I think that like I like them bringing those Villanova boys. I've always liked DiVincenzo. He's always been a dog. I've
Mm.
always liked Josh Hart. In fact, my dad used to love that dude when he first came into the league. He
Right, right,
remembers
right,
remember when he was playing in the G League, and he can
right.
really score too. You know what I mean? That's what people may have forgotten along the way, that this dude actually really can score. Ex Laker, by the way. Um,
Ex Laker, ex Pelican.
mhm.
Like I know he could play.
Yeah, Josh Hart could play, and it seems like the Knicks are the team with the right kind of attitude to match him. You know what I mean? Um,
Hmm.
with Jalen Brunson, with Hartenstein. I mean, this is a New York style team. This is a bring out lunch pails to work squad. You know what I mean? So I like them. I didn't want to come on here, and I don't know what you guys were talking about before I came on here, but
Nah, nah, nah. You good?
I
You
just got
good?
finished seeing these Knicks. I didn't look at the box scores per se, but I looked at some of these finals numbers, and another W, impressive, beating the didn't they just beat the Kings tonight in an impressive victory? So the Kings are a good team. So yeah, the Knicks are doing their thing.
Yeah. The Kings are a short monk. That's gonna hurt them in the playoffs.
Yeah, I didn't know. I don't watch the Kings on a regular basis, but I definitely do know that Malik Monk is a big part of that squad. They have a few dudes who catch fire in a bottle.
Right,
Malik
right, right,
Monk.
right, right.
I mean, there's a couple of dudes over there who catch fire in a bottle. Malik Monk. Every now and then Barnes, Keegan Murray. Every now and then.
Bond's playing out of position, and I don't even see why he did that to himself. He know he not a power forward. Yeah, he know
Yeah,
that.
I don't know why anybody would play him at power forward, but it's the NBA. Dudes swear this positionless basketball stuff.
Man, I hate that statement. I hate it. I
They
hate
really be trying it though.
that's one statement I hate, bro. I'm sorry. I hate when people say that statement. Now I know how you bringing it up, the context you bringing it up in, but I hate that statement because if that's true, we might as well just take all the alphabets off of everybody's name and just put them on the court.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Like, I mean, so I don't. I mean, I think that positionless basketball is a catchphrase. I mean, you have teams that we've always had teams in the NBA that have been able to do different things. Like, I remember when the Spurs came with the Twin Towers, right? You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Remember when Tim Duncan came in the league, they had David Robinson center, Tim
Right,
Duncan power forward. To be honest with you, both of those dudes really were power forwards, but David Robinson was also a legit center. I mean, and both of those dudes were like, center forward dudes. You know what I mean? So the Twin
right.
Towers was a nice concept. Barkley played the power forward at 6'4". I mean, right? Let's not
Nah,
cap
six
kid us.
five, but yeah, yeah, yeah. Six
I
five, but yeah,
mean,
yeah, yeah.
we could debate 6'4", 6'5", right? You know what I mean? We could debate. He was small for
Yeah,
playing a
yeah,
power forward for sure. You know what I mean? And let's keep it real. He was really a small forward, but they played him at power too. So you know
yeah,
what I mean? And
yeah. He just was a little sizey. That's all.
but the thing is that one thing about it is like you couldn't front on him because he was gonna grab. He was grabbing you them boards too. It wasn't like he was just scoring. He was actually going and getting you boards. He was up there with the bigs, and he was moving those dudes because he was so big. You know what I mean?
Right.
Um, Zion kind of reminds me a little bit of a mix between him and Sean Kemp in certain ways. You know what I mean? A dude who
Good,
probably is small, but really is a power forward
good
kind of.
combination. Good combination. No, no, no. I'm saying who you compare them with. Good combination. I never thought of it like that.
No, seriously. First off, I know a lot of people
Barkley,
don't.
yeah,
A lot of people don't know how good
but
Barkley
Kemp,
was. Well, because Kemp was a high flyer. Barkley wasn't necessarily known as a high flyer. You know what I mean? Zion loves the open court, so I mean he can hit the open court like Kemp, but he's got that big body. You know what I mean? And I
right?
mean he's only like what are we saying, 6'5", 6'6"? You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
at the most 6'6".
Right, and I mean he could play power forward. He got him listed at power forward center this year, so that's why he reminds me like the Barkley. He's a kind of an undersized guy, but he has such an amazing. What people don't talk about him is that he's such a phenomenal offensive rebounder. His second jump is, I think he has the best second jump of anybody in the NBA. clearly
The
from my eyeball test.
the next one close to him will be Gordon. Still, it will honestly
Oh
be
yeah,
Gordon.
yeah. But the only difference between him and Gordon is I think Aaron Gordon is actually a legit. I think he's a legit power forward. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, 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 yeah.
I mean, mind you, Gordon has a lot more height than him, and Gordon isn't even nowhere near the offensive threat of a Zion. Zion's on offensive rebounds. We're talking about shots that he may have bunnied, and he gets back to him so quick. You know what I mean? Like he's just an
Right.
amazing offensive rebounder. That's a real skill that people don't talk
Can't
about. But
coach that.
if you
Can't
watch
coach that.
Zion, man, he gets back to the ball as quick as anybody I've. He gets back to the ball as quick as anybody I've seen. I'm not even gonna cap. He's probably the best. Um, and I'm not. And the numbers probably haven't caught up to him yet because he's had these choppy seasons where he hasn't been able to play a full season yet. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
But
If
he'll
it
eventually
wasn't
get
for
there.
that, if it wasn't for that, people would like they like he the problem with him is they were starting to market him as one of the new faces of the NBA.
Hmm.
And that's why the other teams had to go with their move with Edwards and Halliburton and
And
Melo.
John Grant.
Hmm.
It's interesting the whole Halliburton thing. I remember I was on here on flight a couple of years back, and I had been privy to rocking with Halliburton about 3 years ago. I'm a big fantasy basketball guy.
Okay.
I've always liked Halliburton, but during that period of time, they were dealing with the injuries with De'Aaron Fox. And so the
Hmm.
question was, they were starting to have rumors that they wanted to move De'Aaron Fox and keep Halliburton, or vice versa. There was like fishy information going back and forth with those two, right?
Hmm.
So I remember I was having a convo here with Dex, and I was telling Dex that Halliburton is really good, but Halliburton is a totally different type of point guard than De'Aaron Fox,
Yeah.
right? And I still feel pretty much the same way as I felt back then. I don't think it was a smart move for them to try to move De'Aaron Fox for Halliburton. And I would have liked for them to be able to keep both of them, but Halliburton was able to produce when he was actually able to start. Like, you know what I mean? And he's even gotten a little bit better. But the deal at the spurt that the Kings were able to pull off when they traded Halliburton, I think was phenomenal. And I would pull the trigger on that any day of the week and twice on Sunday also because remember they got Sabonis for Halliburton, and
Right.
Sabonis is a triple double dude himself. He's one of those rare breed kind of guys, a power forward, um, slash center. Even though I think he may be undersized as a center, but one of those Draymond Green type of guys who can do it all, right?
Right.
You know what I mean? Who can run your offense. So he effectively, really, you don't have a need for a facilitator because you can run your whole offense through Sabonis, and Sabonis is consistent, very consistent. I thought that was a
Already.
I thought that was a great trade, and I think that the Kings have benefited from it, and I think that the Pacers have benefited from it. I think it worked out for everybody.
Oh yeah, because remember in their front office they still got Bellotti. So Bellotti making him that strange coffee every day.
Yeah, I feel you. Yeah, you're right. Well, Vadi's got Vadi's a vet. I like seeing dudes like Vadi still around. I like seeing some of these old guys on the bench. Still connected to the game.
Yeah, but I'm saying Blotty's still connected to their front office. Cause when he got there, that was the problem Weber had with him. All he
Hmm.
wanted was European centers,
Right, right. Well, I
and
mean,
now you finally gave him a decent one. Oh man, he
and
gonna rock out with that.
it was a great deal. I mean, to me, the Pacers are still the Pacers. Um, Not necessarily my number one destination
Right,
organization that's trying to get some places. I mean, I think that they got the thing that they got from Halliburton was his untapped potential. In other words, as a younger player, you
right,
got his upside. With the Kings, what they got with Sabonis was realized. You know what I mean? They had to realize potential because Sabonis does this every year. You know what I mean? I think
Hmm.
Sabonis leads the league in triple doubles this year. So
Nah, I think Joker got him. I think Joker
nah,
got him.
go and look it up. Go and look it up.
Mm,
Yeah, I think that Sabonis actually leads the league in triple doubles this year. I
okay.
haven't been looking at it very closely because I'm studying for an exam. It's been taking all of my time or whatever. But yeah, the last I checked, which was a few weeks ago, yeah, he was leading the league in triple doubles. So I mean, it's worth looking up. Either way, number one, number two, you know what I mean, in the league in that category says a lot.
Right.
So
As a big man too.
and as a dude who really runs, I mean, De'Aaron Fox is a dude who could put 40 up every night. And Sabonis really makes that entire team run. So you know what I mean. He's a big component for them being able to be the team that they are now. And I have no knock on Halliburton at all, but you know they are a playoff. They're a legit playoff team. The Sacramento Kings are a legit good team.
Yeah.
I mean, and they're better than the Pacers. And the Pacers still have a ways to go, but the Pacers are getting better. So I think it's good, but Halliburton now actually has a team, so he doesn't have to compete. There's no question about who the starting point guard is, and I mean, I think this year he really, I think he really he really showed a lot of people something this year. Shout out to Halliburton, great season for that young man. I'm very happy to see what he's doing.
I want to see how they're going to use Toppin because as of right now, I don't think they're using them right.
I mean, so yeah, that now this is a good thing because I'm glad you mentioned that because Toppin, remember he was a Nick too. Him.
Hmm.
There were a couple of Knicks that I was questionable about their upside. Even Mitchell Robinson. I like Mitchell Robinson, but what do you feel is the ceiling for Toppin? I'm interested in hearing your opinion. What
I
do you
think
think its
Toppin.
potential is? Like
I think
the
I
best the
think
best Toppin,
Toppin
what do you think can do in a season?
14 to 16, average 7 rebounds and a steal and a half a game.
All right, I mean that's decent. You really think he could get to 16 points a game? I don't know if he can do that.
14 to 16 points a game. His second jump is just a little bit behind Zion.
The thing is, I like Toppin because he's a high flyer, but there's something about him that I
He
I don't.
he has to work on his mid range to me.
mm. I don't know. I think that Toppin is a guy who can look at a player like he can kind of look at maybe like an Aaron Gordon as far as what his
Mm,
potential that he could be at his best.
nah, cause cause that'll be Eric was a strong six man. I think Toppin.
You don't think Toppin's
That
6 man?
I I don't think six man, but I do think he can give you that 14 to 16 points. I'm not thinking six man. I'm thinking more like 7 man.
All right. I mean, but that's so I see where we're going, and the reason why I talked about Aaron Gordon is because I'm like I look at a player and I say, well, what's their upside? What I mean, what's their ceiling? What do I think is the best that this guy could be? You know what I mean?
Right, right,
I
right.
think like where Aaron Gordon is now is probably the best of where I could expect from a top end, maybe. I think your numbers were modest. I think that you're at least realistic.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know if I can. I don't know if he's the type of guy I'm gonna count on to get 16 points a game. No, I think you might be giving him a little bit more, maybe 2 or 3 points more than maybe he'll probably ever reach. But we'll see. We'll see. I'm
Yeah.
interested in seeing what it will be. But I think that you're definitely spot on about him probably being like a seventh man. I don't see him really being like a dedicated starter. I see him potentially being a person who actually moves around to a few teams too throughout the
Not
course of the
not
year.
with the personnel that they have. With the personnel that they have, I do not see him as a six man.
I'm not. The thing is, when you look at the Pacers, and this is part of the reason why, and I've had debates with one of my other sports partners about the Pacers. He first off thought that I was hating on Halliburton, which was crazy because I actually like Halliburton. I'm not a glazer. It takes a lot for me. Like, I'm not a, like, you have to, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I like
Yeah.
players, but I'm not, like, for
Nah, I
example,
dig it.
Like,
I dig it, and that's why I'm saying what I'm saying. As far as me, where I see him at,
mhm,
with his athletic ability, and if he works on his midi, I could see him 14, 16 points a game. Now,
right,
if he does not work on that, like how he's continually not to show it to me, then you have what you have now.
yeah. Well, we'll see. I mean, Toppin is able to play. I mean, it's not like he's complete trash, and he's actually a decent player. And on the
Yeah.
Pacers, he'll have room on the Pacers because I'll be honest with you, the Pacers are not like I'm sorry to say this, but the Pacers haven't proven anything to me yet. This will be their opportunity this postseason.
Well,
Gotta
they haven't proven their rotation for number one, so it's not submitted. With the guys that they with the influx of guys that they just receive, they don't know them yet. Like I hate to say it that way, but they don't know them yet. Once every there isn't no full chemistry between these guys. It's basically what I'm getting at. There is no full chemistry.
Yeah.
I wish there was, but there isn't a full chemistry behind these guys.
Well, here's my issue with the Pacers, and I'm gonna tell you my problems with the Pacers. First off,
Okay, what you got?
I think this is a mediocre team. I think they played a little bit over their head this year in a East that's been a little bit weak,
Okay,
due to a few things. But all that being said, here's the issue I have with the Pacers, and I
okay,
stand 10 toes down on this. The Pacers have been able to do pretty well, but the Pacers, I think they lead the NBA in the pace that they play with, which is good,
yes,
right? They like to move the ball. Problem is when you get to the postseason, uh, and you have to play a series. Now we're not talking about just one game. All right. The postseason slows the game down.
right.
Your half court. I don't know how good of a half court team the Pacers
Set
are
they are.
consistently, right? And
Right,
that means that no matter who they play in the playoffs, I think they're gonna have a tough time winning the series. And for me, and this was the issue, I was getting into these debates with my man who just glazes freaking Halliburton to death, which I like Halliburton, but I'm not a glazer. I
right, right,
like
right.
Halliburton, but I don't know if Halliburton is. I think that he's done well. He had an all-star game in his own backyard, which is good for him. I think he's a really good player, a talented player. I like what he's done assist-wise, but I don't want him to be Chris Paul. Chris Paul is a great player, but Chris Paul is
Oh, a taller Chris Paul. I got you. I got you. I got you.
Because Chris Paul has had a great career doing nothing. Like just he's had a good career. He's been around. You know what I mean? He's got
Right,
you
right,
some
right.
numbers, but you're not. I want my man Halliburton to be better than that, and I don't think that Halliburton. And no disrespect to Halliburton, and I've said this, and I'll stand 10 toes down in it to my death. I don't think he's the main dude. I think that I don't want to say he's a complimentary piece. He's an all-star for sure. But if you bring me a dude over there who really is like that offensively and put them next to Halliburton,
Mm.
now we're serious. Or you bring me a dominant center over there, now we're serious. In other words, if you take a Halliburton, you put him next to like a Giannis, we're serious. You know what I mean? We're in there. The Pacers have a ways to go to being able to establish that. I like them getting Siakam. I
Hmm.
like Miles Turner. I think those pieces I think you're moving in the right direction, but they still play kind of collegey to me, and I have questions about how they'll be able to play in the postseason when the game slows down. I mean, I like all that Rick Carlisle, Swiss Army knife, bringing all these
Flashy.
dudes. A bunch of
Flashy.
they play great. 8 dudes on a team getting double digits is brilliant. You need all of that effort if you're going to try to beat somebody. But I know that that's not going to the Eastern Conference Finals, and that's not enough to get to the that's not enough to definitely get out the East. And we got to see if they can actually beat somebody in a postseason. And I hold that challenge for any developing team or any superstar anyway. You're good, but now if you want me to look at you like John Morant, Luka Doncic, even Trey Young, who's maybe falling back a little bit. These guys have all got to the postseason and actually won at least one series, right? You know what I mean? So
Right.
I want Halliburton to be in that. And for me, that's an important step. So I can't glaze somebody who's never even been to the postseason. You got to get there and show me that you really are that dude that can carry a team. And unfortunately, the NBA, with all of the good teams, it's a star-driven team, and your star is going to have the burden on carrying that load. You follow what I'm saying? I don't think that it's
Yeah.
fair for Halliburton to have to be the hero for that team. And I think he has better pieces over there, but he's got to figure out a way to make that work at that fast pace. Because that gimmick, that fast pace stuff to me is a gimmick through the regular season. Postseason, you play the Knicks, they're going to slow you down. Period.
Yeah, so I'm not disputing what you're saying. I'm actually agreeing with it because that's why I kind of could not bring them up on the breakdown, and I was real like quick with it because like I'm seeing the problems with their X's and O's, even though they think they are right. You dig what I'm saying? I'm
Right,
like,
exactly.
I don't know about that. Like y'all think y'all are right. I don't think y'all are right.
And they don't got no, and they don't have the experience. Like even if you look at the Bucks, who've had a little bit of changes. I mean, the Bucks have been to the postseason. You know, with Giannis, Dame has been to the postseason. Most of the Buck players have been to the postseason with their team. Even though they're struggling, I have a little bit more confidence in the Bucks than I have. The Pacers gotta make me believers. You know what I mean? And they're not
Right.
going to be able to. There's nothing they're going to be able to do this regular season that was going to make me a believer. And that's one of the issues I got into with one of my other sports partners because he felt as though I was being negative on him. It's not negative on him. It's just being real. Like
It's
I'm not
it's
tuning
being
into those.
logical and not delusional. It's not being delusional about them. That's all. I dig it.
Right. And I used to be a Pacers fan back in the days when they had Reggie Miller and Rick Smits and
They was the
Jalen
double
Rose,
screen kings.
Mark
The
Jackson.
Warriors then took that over. They used to be the double screen king, boy.
Well, the Warriors took it and they went to a different level with it because they're a modern NBA, and and people always like to talk about that's. I don't like to play time machine basketball, but the Pacers were really a great basketball team, and they were fun to watch. They had hardy dudes like I'll never forget the Rifleman and Reggie Miller, and then they had the Davis brothers who were kind of underdog,
Oh yeah.
rebounders, and Rick Smith was a phenomenal center who was probably one
Then
of the
they
most
even bought
underrated.
Deadlift Shrimp over there from the Supersonics.
I
That
think that
so
Rick Smith is probably the most underrated center in NBA history. I thought that Rick Smith was a very solid center. I always liked Rick
oh
Smith.
he was solid, but he just couldn't get over the hump to be a star. He was
That's
solid.
because, but the reason you have to remember it was a different era back then. First off, right? And
Right.
think we had superstar centers. I don't think that Rick Smith wasn't a star. I just think he wasn't a superstar per se. Because at his position, remember, so now we have Shaq comes into the league. We had other
Right.
great centers. I mean, David Robinson, Akeem Olajuwon, Patrick Ewing, Alonzo Mourning. I mean, there were a lot of good centers when
Yeah,
you forget.
Wellens, that was still at Atlanta, that was on his way out. Hell, yeah, Matumbo was still showing spurts. So yeah, I dig it.
Yeah, there were a lot of really good centers. So that's the reason I say he's underrated because he played in an era where there were a bunch of great centers. But he was a good center, and it wasn't like he wasn't a card carrying member of that squad. But Reggie Miller was the star of that team, and they had their team was very good all across the board. It wasn't like Reggie Miller was out there dropping 30 every single night. You know what I mean?
Right.
He carried the team mostly. He was a shooter. Um, you know, the Rifleman could get hot. They got Jalen. I mean, that Pacers team was a very very good team, but they played basketball so much different than they play now. Nowadays, there's more room for the difference between playing basketball back in like the 90s and the 80s per se, right? Is everybody
Right.
kind of had a role that they stayed in. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Basketball now, you have a lot more room for random dudes to have those those games. You had dudes who, for example, Rodman wasn't gonna drop 30, never. You know what I mean? He was
Right.
never. You were never going to see a 30-point game. You were never going to see Rodman. We've seen Draymond. Draymond had 30-point games. In fact, when the Warriors first started, I mean, Draymond used to shoot from the three regularly, with frequency.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like certain dudes stayed within certain roles, within their certain lanes. The NBA now, because it's the lane is open. You have so many more people contributing offensively. You know what I mean?
Right,
You
right,
didn't
right.
really necessarily have that back in the days. Back then, when you had the Davis twins, like you were talking about with Obi Toppin, those guys weren't even getting 16 points a game. You know what I mean? Those guys were probably getting you around 12, 14 points a game. You know what I mean? Each of them, but
Yeah.
they were grabbing you those 10 rebounds that you need and doing everything else that you needed.
Oh
Now
yeah,
you
they
have
had their hard hats on. They really did.
and in the modern NBA, the pace is pushed so much further, so there's more shots available too. You know what I mean? Than there were back in those days. Would you agree?
Oh yeah. I mean, the just with the way people hit the gym is different between then and now.
And back in those days, the inside game was way more valuable. That's also the reason the pace was a little bit slower. I mean, you'd feed a guy like Rick Smits. You'd feed him one on one in the post and take advantage of mismatches. You don't do that very much in the modern NBA.
Well, I mean that's what's going on with Kessler. They feeding him. So yeah, I can see where you're going with it.
I like Kessler too. I mean, he would be a good player, for that throwback era. But the NBA is a little bit different than it was, and um, but I mean, I think it's unfair for people to look at the NBA and try to play time machine basketball, because you have to make adjustments for these time machines. Back in Reggie Miller's days, like, yeah, Steph Curry is leading the greatest 3-point shooter of all time. You know how many more 3-point shots that they shoot in the NBA now than back in them days?
Man, bananas.
Like 3 times more 3-point shots they shoot nowadays. And not every 3-point shot is a good shot. Let's stop lying to ourselves about that.
Man, I don't know why they think is like so much together.
I mean, we see more air ball. They know the difference between when dudes shoot an air ball now and back in the days. Back in the days when you shot an air ball, the crowd will let you know about it. Air! They don't even do that anymore. You see, they shoot so many of them. You hit the
Well,
side of the backboard.
I mean, but some of the fans now get too sideways with it. So that's the overall difference.
Well, you have dudes. I mean, I think that some of the talent, some of the shooting talent is definitely better, as far as as many dudes as could really get loose. For example, like I hear Gilbert Arenas all the time talk. Gilbert Arenas was a high volume shooter. He was a dude who was a point guard who was going to shoot the ball 30 times a game if he could. If he never seen a shot he didn't like, and he didn't mind shooting from, like, ridiculous ranges. He was a little bit ahead of his time in a certain aspect of things. You know what I mean? And as much as we give credit for the modern NBA, he was one of those dudes who when you knew were playing against him, you knew he was a gunner. But that wasn't winning
Yeah, but
basketball
but
back then.
but yeah, but he also peaked at the right time. He peaked right before his rookie deal was over.
Yeah, but that wasn't winning basketball back in those days. You weren't going nowhere doing
I
that.
mean, he was on Washington though. Come on, man, cut it out. He was on
Yeah, but I
Washington.
mean, but that was the perfect place for him. I mean, where else was he going to be able to do that
Yeah,
at?
but he making it sound like he was on a contending team. Like I'm
Well,
like
he talks like that, but
like
we know
like
he wasn't.
you was able to get your cash out and pay out, bro. So I ain't gonna hold you.
Well, I mean, the
Like
highlight of Gilbert's career was he dropped 60 on Kobe. You know what I mean? Good. And I
right,
remember when he came in with the hibachi and all kind of. He came in with antics, and he came in with
right, right,
antics
right.
and shenanigans himself. I mean, I like Gilbert. In fact, I still call him Goofy Gilbert because he has some of the most goofy takes ever. But he also has a logical mind sometimes. But sometimes, without putting things into context, you would have a dude like Gilbert have you thinking that this dude was a Hall of Famer or something if you listen to him and take him too seriously. So,
Yeah, that's facts.
I mean, I push
But
back on it a little bit because during that era, like when Gilbert talks about point guards of his ever, and he starts talking about how much he was head and shoulders better than some of these dudes, I'm like, all right, dude, pump your brakes a little bit. I don't know if you were better than Stephon Marbury, dude. Like, seriously, Marbury was actually a beast. Steve Francis. Who else was my man? Baron
Mar-
Davis.
he couldn't handle with Baron Davis, so that's why I say I don't like fully give him his props with that because I know he couldn't handle Davis at all.
And I mean, he only had like 2 or 3 good years. Let's be honest. He destroyed his own career. He's just being real about it. That was
Davis was a
self-inflicted.
better on the ball defender than him.
Well, I mean, and now here's the other thing that Davis was. He was a better team player than him, and that's my pushback on Gilbert wasn't really a great team player. Let's just even if you listen to him, does he sound like a great team player to you? He didn't want to play no defense. He only wanted to chuck.
Yeah, I mean, so that's the main reason why I'll be honest. I don't look at his shows a lot. I just like like one of my partners that listen to him, like he'll tell me it's something that I may need to like chime in and listen in on from time to time. But I'm not a regular over there.
But Gil,
But
I'm gonna say one thing though. Gil is entertaining. I mean, I like Gil personally. I
mm,
just think that sometimes, and I think that sometimes he says things that contradict himself. Like he always gets his foot in his mouth because he starts trashing. He has a beef with the '80s, and he trashes Michael Jordan. Yet he got Michael Jordan #1 on the GOAT. But when you listen to him half the time, it don't sound like that. You know what I mean? He says the most
at
ridiculous
all.
ever. He's the one talking about Michael Jordan only had a left, and he was the GOAT before he won anything. But then, well, I got Michael Jordan #1. It's like, dude, which is it? Like you conflict yourself some of the time. I mean, some of the stuff you talk about Michael Jordan is insane. I mean, and it's just difficult sometimes to take Gilbert seriously because he's such a freaking goofball. But he actually does actually say some things that he is entertaining at the very least, and
Yeah,
it's
yeah. I mean,
version.
some stuff he have some good takes on, but
Some stuff is ridiculous.
and that's why, like, I don't give it to him all the way. But hey, I don't want my phone to die on y'all, so I'm gonna say good night now, cause I
Yeah,
only got 5%. I'm by my girl, and she got an
no,
Apple.
no
I got
problem.
an
I
Android.
only popped on for a couple minutes. I just saw everybody was on. I figured I'd hop in here for a second and
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
you on all night long. But somebody mentioned something about the Mavs. Luca's been playing great. Put some respect on that man's name, people, please. Y'all, I don't know why people talk crazy about Luca. That man be balling.
Well, Batman, Superman, but Luca was the one that said, "I'm the Robin to his Batman," and I'm gonna leave it as that.
That don't make a difference. Everybody know that Luca's team and Kyrie is a great player, but come on. Remember they got swept and he dropped 11 twice in that series where they got swept when he was on the Nets when they were supposed to be the super team. I like Kyrie, and Kyrie is a phenomenal player. He has all of these things, but come on, Luca's been dropping triple doubles. Luca won in the postseason by himself. Kyrie is definitely the Robin over there. Not no disrespect to Kyrie, great player, but
Hey, I'm only
But
going up
but
off
do
of
you
what Luca said.
you
do
know.
you believe that
I
Kyrie
respect
wants to
I
be the
respect
Robin?
I respect Luca though because I think that Luca also
Hold
needs
on,
to
hold
say
on.
that because
Dex got a question for you. There you go. He
yeah,
finally chimed in as I'm about
here we
to
go.
exit. But all right, y'all.
All right,
Peace
take
out.
care,
Okay,
bro.
salute
What
Gemini.
was that? What was that question you just said?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. What's up,
Oh,
Dex?
what's up? Salute to you, Quiz. I see you went on your dribble about the New York Knicks, so you feeling really good right now being a Knicks fan, right?
Well, I'm not a Knicks fan. I'm a New
You
Yorker.
always say
I
that.
like
We
the
ain't trying
Knicks.
to hear that. You
I
always
know,
say that.
Dex. I'm the
As
most. I'm
soon
the
as the
most
Knicks are go
complicated.
on a run or do something spectacular, here you raise your ugly head.
I like when the Knicks. I'm a New Yorker. I like when
I
when
know
the
you can't
energy,
help it.
the energy, the new when the Knicks are playing good, and I mean when you see them playing good, like it's a different energy. Plus, Dex, remember my pops was a diehard Knicks fan, and he's no longer with me, so I represent them vicariously through.
Gotcha. It's nothing
I
wrong.
like seeing
There's
the Knicks
nothing
do.
wrong with it.
I like
It's nothing
seeing the
wrong
Knicks
with
do
it.
well.
Uh,
Well, no matter how far they
yeah, I'm
go,
not judging.
the league is better when the Knicks are playing well. I would just keep it a
I
B.
like that. Yeah, the league is better when the Knicks is playing well because they are in a major market, and it's only befitting that if you're in a major market with the plethora of money floating around, you should play good. There's no excuses, right?
Right, and I'm
Because
gonna tell you what another thing, Dex. This is the cherry on the cake. The reason why you see me pop up when the Knicks play good, right? Because I'm a big fan of the underdog, and the Knicks have been an underdog my entire life. I've never seen them win anything ever. You know how many times Jordan came and destroyed, took their heart?
Yeah, not only Jordan, a few other people. Indiana Pacers.
Jordan, the Pacers. I was a Pacers fan, Bulls fan. Yeah, you know what I mean. Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I think the Knicks had some good teams. Remember when they had Sprewell, Allen Houston, and them, and Allen Houston got
No
injured.
doubt, no
I thought
doubt.
the team was great. I
They,
thought that
they,
was
had- they had the Heisman Trophy winner over there as well.
yeah. I mean, I felt as though he just ended up in the best situation he could possibly be in. He wouldn't have been nothing. He wouldn't have been nothing if he wasn't in that New York market. Charlie
Mm,
Ward.
yep.
I like Charlie,
FSU.
but he was the perfect player for that team in that era. Um, John Starks, you had to love John Starks. That dude had heart. Think
Yeah, he
about
was very streaky though, John
he
Starks,
was. He shot him
and
out.
he
He shot him.
cost them a
Yeah,
championship.
he did. He did. He did. I'll never forget that. I'll never forget that. And remember that game. He was just
Don't
he just
forget Tucker, right?
couldn't.
OG Trent. Was it Trent Tucker?
Yeah, Trent
Was that?
Tucker. He
Yeah,
was a
the dad. Yeah.
he was a defensive dude. But
Hmm.
as
He
a
hit a three every now and then.
as a New Yorker, man, there was so many players I could go through. I used to like Gerald Wilkins, Dominique's brother,
Yep.
Kenny
Yep.
Scott Walker.
Oh,
Um,
Kenny Skywalker coming out of Kentucky. Man, was he
yeah,
raving over Skywalker. You know, he's not the original Skywalker, but he brought a lot of publicity coming from Kentucky. But, he did the light skin thing and he didn't hold up. It just fell
listen,
apart.
hold on, let's keep going. Anthony Mason, the X Man. Remember
Yes.
the X Man?
Yeah,
Xavier
Xavier McDaniels.
McDaniel.
No doubt. No
Yeah,
doubt.
I mean, I have a fond feeling for all of these dudes who didn't
Well,
win nothing.
X-Man was from Old Dominion, right? And he was the first person to lead college in scoring and rebounding.
Right. Yeah. And see, this is the reason why, like, I gotta push back when I hear dudes talking crazy about the 80s and the 90s and all. These was good players, good teams. It's not easy to win, especially when you got a dude like Michael Jordan running around out there.
Well, I mean, I don't cross eras. I believe I'm smart enough to understand that was that dimension. And
Right.
within that dimension, you had your star players, you had your athletes, you had your shooters. Whatever it was in that particular dimension stays in that particular dimension and
Right.
needs to be encapsulated and appreciated for being in that dimension. As when different kind of portals open up for
Right.
new dimensions, you
Yeah.
get an expansion of talent that might supersede the previous dimension.
Right. And we have that. But the thing is, basketball has changed a lot. And so I just push back when people try to make it like these dudes who played in that era were trash, because that's not the case. And it was exciting and fun basketball. Am I right or wrong, Dex?
Of course, because you got to understand, Quiz. A lot of us might think that us being reminiscent of the nostalgia of the yesteryears, that we become mindset relics of the past.
Right,
But
exactly.
but the thing of it is that we experience it in live time, in
Been-
real time.
Right.
So our appreciation is different because it arose out of us a chapter in our lives that we was able to witness something in its younger stages as it evolved into what it is now. And we can say that we seen it, you know, mature and be nurtured by the gatekeepers of that day into what we see right now, what Adam Silver has inherited.
That's right. And we're keeping the tradition going with basketball. But yeah, the only issue I have with the modern thing. I wasn't in love with the remember when they did that top 75 thing, and then you start pushing dudes like Damian Lillard, like there's no way. Like there were some dudes
Well,
with
but see, that's the conundrum because Quiz, when you cross dimensions like that, You have to keep the current dimension and connect the past dimensions, and it's basically called bridging the gap.
Right.
So to keep the current interested, you have to have the current involved. So that top
I'm fine.
75,
I'm fine with that, but the problem is I cannot. There's no. I can't even make a case for putting Damian Lillard over certain dudes. I can't even put Damian Lillard over Bernard King, to be honest with you. And that's previous
well,
generation.
but Damian Lillard have better numbers than Bernard King
He probably
because
does, but
Bernard King was hampered with injuries.
yeah, and that may be true. But see, a dude like Damian Lillard, like when his career is over, I'll be able to, because now Damian Lillard is still of this ilk. So when he retires, he's going to be weighed up against the dudes of his era, and we're going to see if he's a first round, second round, third round ballot Hall of Fame. But Damian Lillard, as far as actual basketball, we've seen him win what, one series in spectacular fashion.
Yeah, but I think his numbers are comparable to some of the older basketball gentlemen. And if that's the case, if you're bringing them into the top 75, and then you got some current dudes that have numbers that are comparable, then should you include those newer guys as well?
But you got to also keep things into perspective. Also, like we were just speaking in the conversation, which I'm sure you probably heard a little bit of, right? There's look. I mean, just eyeballs watching the game. The basketball is far more offense centric than it was for some of those other guys, right? You know what I mean? One, two. These guys are still currently playing, and I'm not even saying that I have a huge issue with some of this sort of stuff. I mean, we know certain dudes where they're ranked in the Hall of Fame, like a guy like Tony Kukoc, for example. You know what I mean? I mean, there's a bunch of dudes who are kind of fuzzy, but I can't also, in order, when you have history of the game, if you go back to look at the dudes who was playing on a peach basket, some of those dudes are in the Hall of Fame, rightfully so. And of course, their numbers aren't going to be as good as the 90s or 2000s or even now, quite naturally. But I mean, I can't diminish them as being a Hall of Famer. So even though we know that some numbers are important, but numbers aren't necessarily everything. Also, for example, like some guys, like when we start talking about the the GOAT debate, and we got to start talking about, we got to talk about Bill, right? You know what I mean? With all of his rings, mind you, they didn't have as many teams he was competing against during that period of time either. You know what I mean? So I mean, there's adjustments, of course, quite naturally. I'm just,
But
you
that's
know,
why I mentioned dimensions, because
right,
despite what was going on in that era, that what was going on, and those are the people who excel. So you can't compare a seed to when the fruit is already ripened, right? Because
right,
you can't
exactly,
exclude that, because the seed is part of the process of getting that fruit into a ripened stage. So all of
facts,
that process you have to include if you enjoy the fruit. And
literally.
that's what the NBA basically have done. But you got numbnuts. Come on, Quiz. You got
That's
numbnuts in media. You got
right.
numbnuts that's pundits. You got numbnuts that consider themselves purists. And you got numbnuts that are what we call the short abbreviated version of fanatics, fans,
Yep.
all bunched in one, giving their judgmental opinions.
Right.
But
Exactly.
in reality, with a critical thinker, you're going to get errors and dimensions encapsulated, then you bubble wrap it, and then you inspect it, analyze it, and enjoy it for what it was then. Then you're going to get another dimension open up for different players who sprung board off the foundation of the previous
Bingo.
process.
Right.
And
And
that's all it is. It's called evolution.
literally, and that's the reason why I have such an issue with what I call time machine basketball. When dudes try to take a dude from today and then throw him back in the days. Or if that's the case, if we take a dude from back in the days and we bring him today, we got to upgrade him. You know what I mean? We got to kick him in because
Well,
it's.
well, those are the minds of the revolutionaries,
Mhm.
because what they're trying to do is revolutionize the game, and they trying to dispel the former regime, right? Because that's what
Literally.
revolution do.
Yep.
Revolution, it means change. So they're trying to change the whole outlook of evolution. You know
Right.
what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And that's where they go wrong at, because
Yeah.
you
You,
can't
you
take away the seed and then want the fruit. You don't get the fruit without the seed in the
right.
process of watering it and nurturing it and things of that nature.
Look, and time, time changes things. I remember a time when Dr. J was probably an easy top 10 greatest player of all time back when I was growing up. You know what I mean? Now there's so many more players. You can look at numbers and all kinds of stuff like that. But, the time machine basketball stuff doesn't work. We still can't diminish some of these guys from back in the days because without them, where would we be today? We needed these guys.
But quiz. You're right, and you're preaching to the choir. I understand exactly what you're saying, and I agree with you 100%. And like I said, people want to be very partial, and they want to compartmentalize the game, and the game is not meant to be uh, car- diced up in sections. The game is looked to be whole, but you have different eras, and whatever era you want to look into, to there, not according to you are now. You understand what I'm saying? Because our understanding of fossil fuel is different today than it was when fossil fuel was first discovered and
Mm-hmm.
was able to be used as a connection to what we have today as modern appliances.
Yeah,
You understand?
your
But
break.
you still got to go out and front. Go ahead, Quiff.
I said you're breaking up a little bit, Dex. But one of the things I
Oh
always
man, that always
about
happens.
you, Dex, is that see the thing is I think that we're both of the same ilk in a sense that the thing I like about conversations with you is because we appreciate these players. I don't just appreciate one or two players. We appreciate
Because we understand,
we bring
Quiz.
them up with
We
reverence.
understand. We have an understanding. A lot of people don't have understanding. Common sense is not common with a lot of people who are blowhards, because they fight so hard to want to be right that they don't want to unite. So that's why it's a lot of separatists when it comes to sports talk and fandom, because they want their era to be the luxurious and the best and the glorified over anything of the past, because they are currently present and they were not present in the past. So they
and
didn't have the opportunity to fill that out.
yeah, you know what it is. It's like I have a bunch of little brothers, and it's that point where you get where I ain't little no more, and you know what I mean. They need to acknowledge. They need to be acknowledged. You need to understand that I have feelings, and I have every right to say the things I say as you do. And then sometimes it's the OGs. Every now and then we got to remind them and put things in perspective for them because
Exactly.
that's the thing that they miss because they don't necessarily
Exactly. Just
perspective.
like kids, right? Just
You
like
know,
you said about kids.
literally.
Kids believe the world revolves around them. This is why when you take a kid to Walmart and they go into the toy section, you be like, no, we ain't having that. The kid break out into a fit.
Hey,
He
and that
ain't, that kid is not understanding the dynamics of life. All they want is self gratification, and they want it instantaneously.
right.
Quiz.
Absolutely. Immediate gratification. That's what they're all about. That's why it's good to have conversation with brothers like you because we've actually seen some of this stuff. And, some have seen more than others or whatever, but basketball has always been amazing at the professional level as long as I've been around. I can only imagine what my dad was able to see when the ABA was, when it was the merger era and stuff like that before. The ABA was fire. The NBA,
Very entertaining, the ABA.
yeah,
Very entertaining. And
it,
this will cause the merger because the ABA was so entertaining, the NBA was losing out on the eyes or the interest of eyes on their product. So that's why they bought them and they paid a substantial price by buying out the ABA that they basically have to pay them for perpetuity, a lifetime,
right. But the best thing that happened was like
perpetuity.
it
Excuse me.
was just like the Negro leagues that when we brought the black people to the league, all right, the talent went up. You know what I mean? It was the best thing that could happen to the NBA. So the it's
Yeah,
just
that's across all sports. You
facts.
know, when they allowed us in, it increased the purse strings of those owners of the teams that allowed black players in, and so and it's still like that today. And for some reason or another, this is why the color lines are blurred, and you have white Americans is coming into the NBA by the few, but you have tons of white Americans playing collegiate basketball, NCAA basketball, men and women.
Hmm.
But it starts to thin out when it becomes being a part of the elite. And those whites that are able to secure some kind of space in the NBA, they looked upon as being what you consider, hopefully, the white hope, you know. And some of them are good. I'm not talking about foreigners. I'm talking about American basketball players. So when you look at the American white basketball player, you're looking at the likes of the Gordon Haywards, the Chet Holmgren, the Jaime Jaquez Jr. Um, let's see who else might be there. Alex Caruso. Um, who escaping me right now as a white American basketball NBA basketball player?
Tyler Hero. Um,
Tyler Hero. There you go.
yeah,
Tyler Hero.
of them.
You know,
Luca,
Duncan Robinson.
unfortunately, but Luca is phenomenal.
No, Luca's not. He doesn't come out of that barrel.
He's not American, but I'm gonna tell you
No,
that
he's not American, not
probably
by far.
but that's the greatest white basketball prospect I've seen since whoosh.
Yeah,
You
but
know,
Americans, but see, one thing about that, Americans will cheer for Luca to some degree.
oh, we will.
A lot of white Americans still look at him and use a foreigner. You
You
know what
know,
I'm saying?
I think that's one of the
And
big issues.
not a Canadian foreigner.
Right.
You a foreigner from across the waters. You know what
You
I'm saying?
know, people like
You,
me, you
Wayne Gretzky
watch
was
a lot of
different because he was
basketball.
a Canadian.
The thing is, the thing about I think there's one thing that me and you are similar on. No, I don't really, all right, to a certain extent, I don't really care where they're from. I look at these guys' game and I look at them sized up with everything I've seen in
But
basketball.
hold on one second.
Hmm.
It's not personal.
Right,
It's
exactly,
business. This is
literally,
business.
right.
You don't think the majority of people who are paying to watch players dribble the ball on the hardwood are Caucasian?
That's
By
true.
far. So
Absolutely.
you don't think they want to see a reflection of themselves and cheer for it and
Hmm.
double down to their kids and say, look at Laurie marketing.
Right. Great basketball player.
You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Just like we did with Jackie Robinson and some of the others that broke the color barrier. We came in droves to support
Hmm.
our reflection and to cheer for. And that brought more money into the owner's purse strings. And so right now, they're looking for that basketball player in Cooper Flag. They hoping that Cooper Flag turns out to be that great white American basketball player like Caitlin Clark is for the women
Hmm.
when he comes into the league. Now,
Shout
I
out to
don't know. I don't
Park.
know where Edie is from. I don't know if he's an American or he's just playing basketball in America. I don't know where his roots are. But hopefully, if he is a white American, a homegrown, hopefully he can come in. But I don't know because his skill level doesn't show as spectacular and entertaining enough as a Cooper Flag. So they laying out the landscape for Cooper Flag. When you see all this celebration of white heroic um, demonstration on the hardwood, they laying out the red carpet for the entrance for Cooper Flag. Trust that.
Well, I will admit that you're probably going a little bit over my head right now. As far as this basketball conversation, I have not looked at as much basketball as I would like to this year. I've been focused on taking care of some stuff business wise, but I did want to hop on here for a couple of minutes. I'm glad that we got a chance to chit chat a little bit, Dex, and I'm looking forward to seeing. I'm looking forward to seeing. To me, myself personally, as a person who just enjoys the sport, um, all things being equal, I like what I see from the NBA where it is right now, as far as the players, as far as the talent, as far as the personalities.
You
And
say you don't like it?
no, I said I do like it.
Oh,
Not
okay, yeah, yeah.
I love it.
I concur. I concur. Yes.
I love the basketball product.
Now,
And
how you feel about the Anthony Edwards syndrome as he emerges and we're watching in real time his ascension because it looks like they trying to throw the NBA on his shoulders.
I'm not. I don't buy that. Well, that's the thing for me. I don't think the NBA is like that anymore. I think that they can do all of this marketing stuff or whatever, but every team got a face of it. And then now we're talking about the national face of the league, and I think that that's more determined by what happens in the postseason. But where Anthony Edwards is right now, phenomenal. I mean, I love it. I mean, he has
I
all
mean,
of the
Michael Jordan have endorsed him.
absolutely, but you know that's only going to take you but so far. Anthony Edwards got to get out there and do his part, continue to be great, and we'll see when all of this stuff is said and done. But I think that the league, like we talked about the evolution of the league, I think that there are things with this now. So now, for example, right? Um, I had this debate with one of my sports partners, and they were disappointed at my take because they were basically trying to diminish Joker and trying to say that Joker was unmarketable. Well, it's a matter of perspective. I
He's
mean,
unmarketable.
listen.
I agree. He's unmarketable.
Listen. It's a matter of perspective. You can say he's unmarketable. I mean, that sounds good, but
Are you talking
people
about? Wait. Let me get an understanding first. Are you talking
yeah.
about in the confines of America, North America, or
No, listen.
global?
No, global, American, either way. Uh, anybody who puts on an NBA jersey or uniform, especially what Joker's what the number what he's the between the 8th and 14th selling jersey in the NBA right now, right? Right. His jersey sales, I think Joker is the 14th in jersey sales
Not
in the
translating into okay. Now, okay, 14. Now, who's
no.
ahead of Joker? He's a two-time MVP and
Hold on,
could be a
hold on.
three-time MVP, depending on how
Let
the
me
voters vote this year. So, give me all the players ahead of Joker in jersey
let
sales.
me let me finish. Let me finish. If he's 14, it doesn't make a difference. People are buying that man's jersey. Joe,
No, that ain't what
I
I
had
asked you, Quiz.
had a comment. It isn't, but I was in the middle of actually saying something. We talk about you want to get my perspective on this marketability thing. So this is just part of it. I'm just allow me to finish. Whether he's first, 14th, or 20th, people actually buy that man's jersey. Somebody actually is a fan base for Joker. Somebody is a fan of that man and is willing to put money on him. We went and took a look at
Quick. See, let me give you some critical thinking here. How many teams in the NBA? First of all,
Dex. If I could,
hold on. This
if I could
this this
finish my
this
thought,
this
please.
ride with me. How many teams in the NBA?
What, 30?
30. And his jersey sale is where?
Let's
14. So he's basically in the middle of the pack. But yet he's a two-time MVP. He's an NBA champion and possibly will have his third season MVP, depending on how the voters vote. So with all these accolades,
There's
he's
far
only 14.
there's far more than 30. First off, that's partially untrue because there's far more than 30 freaking jerseys being sold in the NBA. Far more than
No,
that.
we're going by teams. We're just going by teams.
Every team nowadays in the NBA got 2, 3, 4 dudes, and not even to mention the retro dudes that people are buying from last year. People got every
But
jersey that LeBron comes out with every single season,
but
multiple of his
out
teams.
of okay, hold on. But out of 30 teams,
Mhm.
each team basically have a for sure representative, right?
Right.
Right. And Joker is that for Denver.
Oh,
There's
he's one.
nobody.
I know
No,
that.
he's the representative of
I'm
Denver,
sure.
not Jamal Murray. It's
I'm a
not Jamal Murray. It's
listen.
Joker.
It doesn't make a difference, Dexco. You're trying to. I'm trying to
No,
say
you're
something.
fighting me on this, and you
No,
shouldn't.
you're getting what I'm saying out of context because you're trying to derail me to go left, and I'm just trying to finish getting to my point. If I can just get there, please. All right. So, yes, even though he probably is the number one sales on the Denver Nuggets, people still go out there and buy Jamal Murray, and who knows where Jamal Murray might be 30th for all we know in jersey sales. I don't know, but every team has multiple players. There's tons of people. Jersey sales is only one portion of a dynamic. There's other portions of the dynamic. All right. There's other portions of this dynamic, which also include, like somebody talked about, well, if you say somebody's unmarketable, right, that means that nobody would put money for them because they can't make money. All of these guys have sneaker deals. Joker doesn't have a sneaker deal with Under Armour,
Thank you. There you go. Let's
right?
go. Let's
He
go.
doesn't have a
Okay.
he
Now
listen,
you're talking.
Dex. He doesn't have a sneaker deal with Under Armour. He doesn't have a sneaker deal with Nike. He doesn't have a sneaker deal with Adidas. We researched this online. He actually has a sneaker deal. Somebody put money on him. Nobody. It's capitalism 101. McDonald's doesn't go to China if everybody in China is broke and don't pay for eating out, right? So that's pure marketing. Somebody actually feels as though he's worth this. Then when you take a look at the thing I also think drives a lot of things, even though I would say he's less marketable, which I think is more accurate, and I think we'd easily agree on this. He's less marketable for a lot of people for a multitude of reasons, including the fact that he barely speaks English. All right, in America, right?
I mean, Kawhi got a sneaker deal. How
Yeah,
marketable is Kawhi?
exactly.
Well, how marketable is Kawhi? Have you ever sold one sneaker outside of his family?
Dex, you know good and well that somebody has bought Kawhi sneakers, and
Okay,
Kawhi
so
was
you know what I mean by marketable. See,
Yes,
you're trying to mincemeat what I'm elaborating on. Marketability means that
highly
you
marketable.
you're at least a top 10 face, and people accepts that. If
Right.
you're
Well,
down towards the bottom, I mean,
right.
what is that? If you sell 17
Well,
shoes a year,
I don't
oh
know.
man,
I don't know how marketable anybody is, but let me just say this. You're a lot more marketable. You're a lot more marketable. Listen, you're a lot more marketable, and we can both agree on this also, Dex, because I think we're really splitting ends anyway. I think you get where I'm coming from, and I get where you're coming from too. Without you even having to go deep into it. But you're a lot more marketable. Let's keep it a bean, right? You're a lot more marketable when you come fresh off the postseason, going to the finals where there are only two teams and everybody in the world got to watch the two teams playing in the finals. Giannis was a lot more marketable the year that he won the championship than he was the years before that or the year after. You know what I mean? Like, you're always more marketable when you came off of it. And that doesn't mean that you're the most marketable person in the league either, but to say somebody is not marketable at all is disingenuous when you're a star on a basketball team. Let's keep it a bean. Every stadium that you
I
go to
mean,
do
you're
have their
marketable, Quiz, in a niche market. So please don't reduce me to that.
That's true,
You know what I'm talking about when I say
but,
marketable.
but let me
You know what I'm
expand.
saying?
Let's expand. Let's expand
Kuzma.
a bit.
Kuzma have a sneaker in Puma, right? He's a Puma athlete, right?
Does he?
But ain't nobody raving for Kyle Kuzma.
No, I mean we can agree. That's why I mean we're splitting hairs. But this is the only point to finish where I'm at. Like you said, everybody's marketable within a niche, right? You know what I mean? But the NBA is full of niches now. Like they're marketing people again.
There's some standouts, man. There's a
Expanding
lot
people.
of standouts.
They're expanding into various different countries. They're expanding into different markets, and they're utilizing
Yes.
these dudes to go into these markets, just like how they bought Yao Meng or Lin Sandy. We can go
Well,
to
no,
China.
no, 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 no. Please, that was a mega business move with Yao Ming. He led the All Star voting every year, even over Shaq and Kobe.
Because there's more people in China than there is anywhere.
Okay, so don't
Country wise,
compare Yao Ming to a damn joker.
I'm not Dex. Don't take things out of context. I'm
No,
saying,
I got to take that out of context because Yao Ming was a mega star in the NBA. You know what
Dex,
I'm saying?
Dex. Again, stick with me, brother. The NBA has splintered into many niches. We are marketing people in all kinds of
Okay,
different
we
China,
agree. You're
China,
preaching to the
China,
choir.
China was one market, and Yao Ming was a huge megastar. We could agree. China's got more people on it than anybody else, but we're marketing to Greece and Slovenia and Canada and
I understand.
you
We
know,
talked about the niche market. We listen. We
absolutely.
agree on that. So we don't need to dribble or
But
rant.
that's the
You know what
evolution
I'm saying?
NBA is right now. NBA right now is marketing in all of these avenues at the exact same
Why
time.
not? It's an octopus. The NBA is an octopus right now. Because when you go global, you become an octopus. No
Uh,
doubt. You're
Literally,
gonna have
literally,
your tentacles all over the freaking place.
yeah, and including the women too. And we're bringing women in. That's why they're including them in these all-star games and
But
stuff.
but
That's
going back to Joker, we're not seeing him in nothing. We don't see him in we don't even see him in beer commercials.
yeah. I mean, I don't
And we
actually.
know that he drink beer. He guzzle that shit down.
You know what? You know what I do see him on. I see him on NBA TV, and
Come
but I
on,
see,
NBA TV.
but I see everybody on NBA
Are you
TV.
serious?
Hey, Brian,
Thank you.
I see everybody there. I,
Thank you. That's localized. You know what I'm saying?
NBA
That's
TV,
localized.
every NBA TV got all of those guys commercials,
Yeah, they got everybody on
except
NBA
for
TV.
Kuzma. They don't got no Kuzma commercials. I ain't never seen
Yeah,
NBA.
but you might see a Jordan Poole sighting on NBA TV, and we already know where his head is. He's
Yeah.
slumped. Jordan
Well,
Poole's slumped right now.
listen, Dex. I always love these conversations.
Damn,
Unfortunately,
Quiz, you leaving? Oh
I
my
do.
God.
Well, I couldn't be on. I actually stayed on a lot longer than I planned
I
on, but it
know.
was a
We
great
appreciate you.
conversation,
No doubt.
and it was
We
always
appreciate your feedback,
Dex.
your commentary, and the mind of basketball that you espouse from is commensurate. We
I love
appreciate
having these conversations with you, Dex. Believe it or not, you're one of my favorite people to talk basketball with. Just so,
you.
whether we agree or disagree, and
People
anyway.
think I'm a bum. Oh, you make me feel good, Quiz.
Oh, stop it! I'm just being honest. I'm incapacitated. You know what did my man Cat Williams say on that Shannon Sharp interview, where he said you're developing an unnatural connection. You're developing
Oh,
a
yeah,
natural
something like that.
connection to losers.
Yeah.
Shout out to my man Cat. He has so
Yeah,
many
cats
one-liners
are
in
fool.
that interview.
Cats are
That is the goat of social media interviews. Period.
out,
All
man.
right,
Good to
Dex.
see
I'll
them.
catch up with you,
Okay.
brother. Shout out
All
to
right, salute.
Light Sports.
Salute to you, bro. So there you have it. Quiz has made his appearance based on his New York trauma. He can't get away from that. Quiz is all the way down to the southern portion of America, and that's Florida. You can't get no southern than Florida. But yet, he still have his northeast connection that brings forth the sentiments of a New York Knickerbocker holistic fan. So shout out to Quiz. He tries to hide it because New York don't do well, and they always wait for the shoe to drop when it comes to New York Knickerbocker basketball. But you know what, Quiz? The same thing is going to happen this year. I don't believe Jalen Brunson can get him over the hump without the presence of the man child himself, OG slot machine, Julius Randle. It's going to be difficult getting through the top portion of the Eastern Conference without somebody as gritty as Randle, as we know him as the janitor with the hard hat. So we'll see how that situation unfolds as we get down to the nitty gritty of the playoff picture and it's setting. I mean, the frame is being built, and the configuration is looking like the New York Knicks might be in the Goldilocks. That is the top four teams in their respective conference. So if the New York Knicks can find themselves in the Goldilocks zone, they have a grand opportunity to get out the first round. They have a grand opportunity to get out the first round. And there's a strong possibility that the New York Knicks might be headed to be facing the Chicago Bulls. And if that's going to be a matchup for the New York Knicks, they might have an opportunity to beat the Bulls based on the Bulls' depletion of high end talent outside of DeMar DeRozan. So we're going to see how that unfolds with the New York Knicks getting out of the first round. Now, we saw that last season when they took on the Cleveland Cavaliers, how they end up smashing the Cleveland Cavaliers and making orange juice out of them. So I know the land is not going to be that way this season, but the Bulls can be that target for the New York Knicks. And if that's so, I think the New York Knicks move on to the second round. And then once they get it to the second round, then that's going to be another story for another day. So let's see how that unfolds for Quiz and Company and Flight, because we already know that they are diligent New York Knicks fans, even though Quiz is in the closet with his fandom. But you know what? Quiz is okay. We're going to extricate that New York Knicks fandom up out of you one way or another in due season. And the playoffs will be most likely the due season for the New York Knicks to harvest into the second round. And then we'll see what happens after that when the New York Knicks get into the second round. So now we know going over into the Western Conference, it is a gruesome gauntlet. And when you traverse in that Western Conference, you better have your boxing gloves fastened, ready to present fisticuffs. Because there's going to be a lot of jockeying and jostling in that Western Conference in both halves, the upper half as well as the lower half, because nothing is really etched in stone as far as the placement and seeding for the Western Conference. Whereas in the Eastern Conference, we already know that Boston is hands down the number one contender coming out of that conference. But in the West, even though teams have secure playoffs like Minnesota, OKC, and the Denver Nuggets, there are no fixture as where they will enter the playoff as of yet. So the Western Conference. Listen, let me just be honest with you. The Western Conference is a Jacob ladder. In these last few games, I think 7 total for the NBA and 5 for the majority of the 30 teams. And only 20 of those 30 teams will qualify for an extended season. The Western Conference is definitely a Jacob's ladder. When you look down into the lower portion of the competition, that is also fighting for their lives all the way down to the finish line to see where they are going to be slotted. That is an amazing thing to experience as a onlooker and a fan of basketball. The majority of the basketball season, people complained that it wasn't competitive enough. And the All Star was a straw that broke the camel's back. What an egregious demonstration that All Star game was. I know people wanted more scoring, and damn, did they get more scoring. But I don't think they wanted to that degree. They wanted to see some kind of defensive display in moments during the All Star game. Nobody said you got to be going full fledged defensively, but damn, show us something of pride that you want to hold your competitor or opponent to the lowest score possible. We didn't get that in the All Star game. But man, look at what we're getting in the Western Conference in the play-in tournament as it unfolds right before our very eyes. Do you see the lump of interest that have been garnered towards the Western Conference play-in scenario? Look at the mighty teams that's gathered in this quicksand of competition. When you look at that Western Conference and the pool of teams involved in the play-in scenario, you got two of the most prized franchises in all of the NBA and to some degree sports. You got the number one profitable team in the NBA and a fight for the play-in to continue their season after the 82 games come to a close. That's the Golden State Warriors. And they beat Houston tonight, that helped propel them to stay in that 10th slot. And then you have the Lakers right above them as the number 3 prize team in the NBA, right behind Golden State and the New York Knicks. The Lakers are sitting at number 9. Gee, golly, wow. With all of the money invested into the roster of Golden State and the Los Angeles Lakers, you got these two teams sitting at the bottom of the competition scenario. 10, Golden State, 9, the Los Angeles Lakers, respectively. I know this couldn't be their mission goal coming into the season, scrambling for their lives to exist past 82 games. Golden State and the Lakers didn't come in thinking that. But this is the situation they face. Lakers seem to be more secure than Golden State. But with the win tonight, Golden State feels a little more comfortable with the Houston Rockets still nipping at their heels and the Houston Rockets still vying for qualification into the extended season. Now, that's a great turnaround for H-Town because prior to Emi Udoka becoming their headmaster, pause, the Houston Rockets was irrelevant. And now there's some respectability coming to the southern portion of Texas, southeast Texas, where the oil barons is wreaking a tremendous profit by down there drilling and sucking up the oil from the earth.
Yeah, we're about to get up out of here. We're gonna pull back up tomorrow.
All right.
All access, everybody in the chat. Peace and love.
Sports TV, man. That's my dude. I rolls with him.